Sugarworks Distillery right there in New Smyrna Beach.
Oh, you got to buy local, man.
Yep, sugarworksdistillery.com. We've had some of their whiskey. It is delicious.
Well, we did a shot with Butler of the Calalisa Creek whiskey. It's awesome. It's a young whiskey. It's got hints of like creme brulee, a bready finish. It's a really, really good. But they've also got vanilla rum. They've got Turnbull Bay spiced rum, Turnbull Bay silver rum, and then they've got New Smyrna Shine, and the one I want to try the most, Shark Bite cinnamon whiskey.
Yep, you can find their products at local ABCs, and if they don't have it, ask for Sugarworks Distillery products.
They'll get it for you.
They'll bring it in, or you can go to the Sugarworks Distillery tasting room at New Smyrna Beach and buy all these products and get some hand sanitizer as well. Find out more information at sugarworksdistillery.com.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
Tom.
Let's jump into some emails.
Emails? Okay.
Yeah, you got any emails over there? Because I love cranking through these voicemails and emails. Here, while you're looking, I'll snag a voicemail. Because we've got enough to probably fill up a couple of segments.
I got an email real quick.
All right, hit me.
This is HIV test. Hello, show. I've heard Seth talk about his HIV test, and I'd like to put my 2 cents in. I've been working in HIV case management for 5 years, and I'm trained in HIV testing and counseling. HIV only exists in high enough concentrations in blood, semen, vaginal fluids, and breast milk to cause transmission. That is why it is difficult for a woman to pass the virus on to the man, even during unprotected intercourse. The virus can't be passed on by the woman unless there is a cut or sore on the man's penis. That being said, if a heterosexual male is having lots of unprotected sex, his chances of having or contracting a sexually transmitted infection is higher, because making his risk of contracting HIV higher as well, because STIs cause lesions to appear on the genitals. So it sounds like the tester Seth went to was probably a volunteer and not a professional, because a professional would know the modes of transmission and risk factors. That being said, condoms are 92 to 98% effective in preventing HIV transmission, as is PrEP, which is an HIV prevention medication. But hats off to you, Seth, for actually getting tested. It's an important part of sexual health that a lot of people refuse to do.
Well, Seth is only getting tested because of hypochondria.
Right. He's not doing it because he's a responsible human being.
No.
We know he's not responsible.
He's being irresponsible, then hypochondria crazy, then getting the test.
Yeah.
It's
a reaction.
If he was responsible to begin with, then he wouldn't even need to get the test, or he'd still get the test because his hypochondria is overwhelming and is making him get the test.
Can I tell you a word I really, really dislike? You know, a lot of people hate the word moist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the word lesion.
Yeah,
really?
You're right. Then there's a Legionnaire, which is...
Well, it's Legionnaire. There's Legion and Legion, right? There's Legion.
You better not laugh at me, Butler. You thought it was Legionnaire, too. I know you did.
Legionnaire, where all of our pirates, where all of our pilots are just covered in sores. You're going to love our planes. Welcome to Legionnaire. Jesus, man.
Whatever. At this point.
Yeah, it is basically a whatever.
You guys knew what you were getting into. What did you think? You're listening to Einstein?
I say Legion, you say Legion.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing off.
You knew it.
Yeah.
You're dumb, too. I know you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, hold on.
What?
This is a... he scared me with that. Let's try this one.
All right, Drunken Rambling, BDM Nelson, Minnesota here again. First of all, hate my voice when you play them, but I love when you play my voice messages, voicemails, whatever. All right. Just saw a commercial on TV here, and I find it very interesting. You know, you guys are kind of right on the precipice of these seltzers, especially with White Claw, if I'm using that word correctly, precipice, the start of it. Getting that all out and getting a great sponsorship with them.
No, man, his brain's really trying to work.
Are you a Legionnaire? You sound like it.
Let's hear from one of our pilots.
That's the word I'm looking for. Reminds me of when you guys were working with Lagunitas. Kind of got me directed towards Lagunitas. Love Lagunitas still to this day. Just we got Corona now.
He's doing the Trumpy thing where it's like sidetrack. So it's like if I'm talking to you, I'm like, this is a great microphone. I love this microphone. You think, this is a Shure microphone. It's the best microphone. Shure microphone is a great microphone. Just get to the point for the love of God, man.
It's like you're stalling with words while you get together your next thought, but it's
you never
extremely
catch up.
confusing.
Yeah, you never catch up to it.
Yeah.
We've got Bud Light. We've got all these like major beer manufacturers of the corporate style doing the seltzers now. Do you think they're just trying to ride the coattails of White Claw and some of these other unnamed ones that I'm?
Of course, they're trying to ride. Are you?
Legionnaire, get it together.
Yeah.
Of course, the popularity of White Claw exploded, so every corporation is going to be like, do that.
I like how he calls us.
We want money too.
I like how he calls us. He's like, I got a drunken thought here.
Yeah, of
Do
course.
you think that they are riding that popularity? Of course. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah. I mean, listen, when White Claw blew up, I mean, there were other hard seltzers too, but it wasn't the gigantic beer companies making them. So then I think like Corona made the first one.
Well, a little bit of a perfect storm too, in the fact that we know this just from talking to other people that are within the industry, and Butler had even told us that this particular gentleman that owns White Claw, and I think they're based out of Chicago. Yeah. He's nuts.
He's a Canadian winemaker.
Yeah, and he's crazy about flavors are like his favorite thing to dabble with. So he
started with like Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yep.
It was Mike's Hard Lemonade Company, and then he got into the hard seltzers. But you're right.
He's obsessed with making the flavors taste really good. So
and they did it.
And he had the jump on everybody. I mean, that's the perfect storm, right? Like when you're trying to make something that's literally just like hard water, it's just water, not the hard water that ruins your car's paint, but it's
just alcohol
water.
Carbonated alcohol with a flavor.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to put a flavor in there that is going to be able to mask the flavor of the alcohol. Now, why do I know this? Because I've tried the other brands. And I'm not saying this because White Claw is a sponsor. I'm saying it because they were the first one I tried, and they're the one I like the best. I've tried them all, every single one.
And White Claw has the best flavors.
They have the best flavors.
In my opinion as well. Now, some other companies, they
have some good ones. There's some local ones that are even good, but White Claw consistently for me,
with all their flavors,
their flavors are good.
Because some of the other ones, they have some flavors that are really bad, and I hate them. And with White Claw, that's not the case. But I realize that everybody's different; it's all subjective. But there is this weird. Also, it was like right place, right time with the culture of the world, I'll say, because I'm guessing that the hard seltzers are worldwide popular as well, not just in America. But if we're just going to look at America, for whatever reason, the people demanded a different, choice when it came to their alcohol or their their, I guess, beer, alcohol percentage level alcohol, you got your hard liquors or whatever, but I think people just were like the people that didn't want the carbs of beer or wanted a different option or whatever. It was just ripe for that time, and then it exploded, and now we're seeing every company do the hard seltzer, which was inevitable because there's nothing stopping anybody from doing hard seltzer.
And my prediction would be the vast majority of the hard seltzers, even local ones that are made by small breweries, the bigger beer ones, they'll probably you'll see a lot of those fade out, and White Claw will probably just stay pretty consistent. That's what I would imagine happens.
Travis, you know about beer. Get in here.
Wow. My God.
Get him.
I like that. He's yelling at you. How does that make you feel when you get yelled at like that? Is that...
It's the only time I can actually...
you're not a bully, but you bully Travis incessantly.
Only when I'm on the mic, though. After that, I was just like...
Get in here, you POS! Look at him. Where's my taser?
I think
off mic, he's like, hey, how you doing, Travis? Hope your day's doing really well.
Do some work, please.
He rubs his shoulders.
Do some work, please.
Hey, what are you doing, buddy? I didn't want to bother you or anything. But, hey, if you're done with your nap, could you fire off a couple proposals just on your time?
I'll do it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't hit me.
So, I thought about this. Is it cheaper to produce a hard seltzer than it is beer? Because you don't need the barley and all.
Yeah, I would say the hops and barley and everything like that would probably add quite a bit of expense to your products.
Yeah, especially like hops.
Hops are expensive too because a lot of them are proprietary to different areas.
So hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the hops market and the competitiveness of tracking down what you need. Because I see the guys over Tactical, and I see the ingredients that they're bringing in, and that ain't cheap.
So, but let's go super cheap here because obviously you got all the great craft breweries, and they. And I still love craft beer, and because it just the ingredients they use are just awesome. But if we're going to go cheap beer or like your standard domestic,
correct?
Is it cheaper to produce a like say a Bud Light hard seltzer than it is a Bud Light? To me, it would be cheaper.
Well, there's a different process because Budweiser is kind of like a lager. It's a pale lager, and so lagering process is kind of a long process. But Budweiser has perfected their lagering process, whether people like it or not. They're amazing at lagering.
Well,
and,
Fisher's in the chat. He's saying yes because seltzer is just water, sugar, and flavoring.
Correct. Yeah,
I agree
exactly.
with that, but if you already have the process down and you've been making one thing tried and true for 100 years,
yeah, you got the process down.
but you may have engineered a way. You know, like as you've done that, you've gotten to the point where you've dumbed things down to the point where it is cheaper to do a Bud Light than it would be to roll out a new product.
Yeah,
you see what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
So there is a different argument here. You'd have to
whole
you'd
new
have
process.
to specify.
Apple and oranges is different, yeah.
Yeah.
But under the same circumstances, like I'm trying to think, it would, for these gigantic beer corporations, I'm sure they would be more than happy to change everything over to hard seltzer if it be...
It's a cheaper product to produce.
Yeah,
Correct.
and
Yeah,
more
I would agree with
expensive
that.
product in the stores because they're selling it way more of a cost than their regular domestic.
Fisher in our
beer.
Twitch chat room is kind of nailing what I was saying is that I think that Bud Light's cheaper for them to produce just because they've done it for so long. That's their. You know what I mean? Like
It's
that's their,
turnkey for them,
that's their
yeah.
thing to produce. This is a new thing. So of course, equipment, how they do it, packaging, imaging, everything that they do about it's got to be real. But if you're just talking about purely the product, I don't know enough about the chemistry involved there too. But I would guess the beer is more expensive to make.
And they could sell
they
it for
cut
more.
corners.
I remember the only thing I learned.
I know craft beer is more expensive to make.
Yeah.
And you can just do that based on taste. Like when I taste, like I can almost taste the money ingredients.
Of course,
you
You can have a craft lager, and then you can have Budweiser's lager. And
Yes.
you can taste the difference in
Oh,
the craft lager
totally.
100% because
Totally.
they're not cutting corners, adding rice, and doing other things like that.
Man, I've been dabbling in beer trading again and picking up like the one-off beers and stuff like that. Man, that can
Mine is dwindling so low, and it's kind of nice. I've had it for so long.
Yeah, well, it'll
I
kill
ran
your
out of
wallet.
everything.
It kills your wallet.
I have so much. Yeah, I still have hundreds of dollars worth of beer in my house.
My God.
It kind of goes along the same lines as the only thing I learned in business school was about salt and the marketing of it.
Damn it, not the salt story.
You listen to the salt story. Not everybody's heard it. They got some new listeners. They're like, what?
All right.
Tom Van, you say salt? I want to learn
Butler,
about
you
salt.
laugh at the salt story. You put your lingerie on and listen to the goddamn salt story. And then he's pushing me down. He's like, I know you think you're an owner, but you're weak.
So the salt story goes as this. It's more inexpensive to produce sea salt
Please mess up your lips.
than it is table salt, but they sell sea salt as a higher price point than table salt, even though it costs more money to produce table salt than sea salt. Sea salt they literally just get from the ocean and in some sort of process of like ocean waves in the foam, and then taking it down and literally just packaging it up. It's like sea
Scoop
salt.
this in this box.
Yeah. And then with the table salt, you got to mine it, and there's a lot more of a
Ionized,
process.
yeah,
but they sell sea salt for like, I don't know, like 5 times more expensive than table salt. Then there you go. So, kind of like that.
Oh man, you're taking a roasting of the chat room.
I don't care what the chat room
good
says.
thing-
Get out of here.
It's a
Get off my lawn.
Get off my chat.
It's a great thing he doesn't have glasses because he can't read the chat. But man, if you could read it, there.
I don't believe anybody's
They're
listening.
putting.
I'm only talking to you guys. Don't care what any of these people think.
Jeez.
I like Grumpy Tom. That's the grumpiest
Oh,
you've
you
ever
think you know better than me, Saltman?
Saltman. Let's do one more email.
Okay. This says a lost expensive item. Hi, I was listening to one of your shows when you guys were talking about losing stuff, and it reminded me of a trip my husband and I were on for our 10-year anniversary to Antigua. We went on a snorkeling tour, and I took my
It's
mask
Antigua.
off. Is it Antigua?
Antigua.
Okay. We went on a snorkeling tour, and as I took my mask off, it ripped my diamond earring right out of my ear.
Ooh.
They were a gift from him. Yes, it was my fault for wearing them, but I never take them out, so I just didn't think about it. Needless to say, he was mad, I was crying, and there is $1,000 earring at the bottom
He
of
was
the ocean.
mad. What, that you wore your earring scuba diving, right?
Right.
Yeah, who would do that?
Also,
What an idiot.
you guys were talking
Shiny objects, fish.
about sex in different places, and like Tom and his wife, my husband and I have also been together since we were young, almost 20 years. And like Tom's mom, my mom also didn't care and would let him spend the night, and we would have sex all the time. I have noticed lately, not sure if it's stress or the amount of alcohol and weed he smokes, but when we have sex, about 70% of the time he can't finish.
Whoa.
Is this something either of you can relate to? Maybe a subject for the show.
Maybe you shouldn't have lost your earring, and your husband can keep it. Keep it going.
That's first. Why doesn't he fake it? Because I've learned that sometimes.
Yeah.
Fake
Too
it?
drunk,
Sometimes if it's not...
Yeah, because
If you're not getting to the finish line, you just go, oh, and you
Maybe-
fall over, and then you're like, I'm sleepy.
yeah.
Maybe he's flogging the dolphin earlier in the day.
Don't... You know what? You should be tased. For
You want some salt in your eyes?
Throw some salt in his eyes, Salt Man. That's Salt Man Tom. And don't even talk to me. Because what I'm bringing that hot pepper.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper.
It's Salt Man and Dr. Pepper. And you about to get seasoned, bitch.
But it's the black pepper, not the soda.
No,
it's
no.
confusing.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
Dr. Black Pepper, but I'm not racist, I promise.
Damn it!
Dr. Black Pepper.
All the branding wasted.
If we don't get a shirt of Salt Man Tom and
Dr. Black Pepper.
Dr. Black Pepper,
Like, why'd you put the black pepper? Man? We get it confused. We're getting confused
we
with
can't get
soda.
copyrighted with soda, yeah. Pepsi will
You
sue
can
us.
be Mrs. Pim.
Well, then don't even put the doctor. But no, we need the doctor.
You went to all that school.
Maybe he's flogging the dolphin earlier.
Oh, my God.
So anyway, it could be you drink too much, or whatever. Sometimes
If you get
medication.
too,
Is he on the
The marijuana?
anxiety medication or the?
She said it could be drinking and smoking too much weed.
It's probably more the... Like, for me, it's always more the weed.
Or
That just takes your sex drive. I think.
tell me
No,
about
it doesn't take my sex drive. It just makes it like... trying to put a noodle in a...
My God.
Well, it's like
Light socket.
trying to put a noodle in a light socket. It's not going to happen.
so-
but if it does, it's electric.
Now tell me if you guys have experienced this. 'Cause
Uh-oh, this is where we get the truth. Oh, my God, it's little. You ever look down there? You ever look down there? There's nothing down there.
put some salt on it.
I don't think you should do that.
Burns.
Welcome to Dr. Black Pepper's office. What seems to be the problem, Mr. Saltman?
So, have you ever experienced this? So, maybe it's been a little bit of a time and you're extra excited, so that when you start, you hold it back.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
don't do
That's
that.
called edging.
Yeah, and then when you hold it back, sometimes you're like, oh, and then you're like, all right, went away. Then it never comes back.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that? When I was
dog
like-
poop, grandma,
That's
grandma,
called-
dog poop.
That's called edging yourself out.
When I was
Samantha.
yeah. Well, she's
I-
a sexual deviant.
So sometimes I bet it's your husband's edging himself out because the marijuana makes you extra sensitive.
That's
and
what I was
actually-
gonna say, yeah.
It helps you. Like in something you got to edge yourself, and then sometimes you're like, we'll never get it back.
When I was a young man, I would have to do that move where I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Don't move.
Yeah.
What?
I'd do that move. I'd be like, don't move. Nobody move.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Like,
And then I
take
and
like 5
and then,
beats.
and then everything just kind of like, It's like, all right. It's like when you're lifting weights and you're like, drop your shoulder. You got to relax. You drop your shoulders.
Yeah.
Think of your form. Think of
3
your form.
Mississippis.
Mhm.
But
All
when
right.
you're young,
And then you're like,
it'll
okay,
come
we get
back.
stop again. Stop. Okay, we're good.
I think when you're
Oh,
old,
God, that's annoying.
your body's like, I'm only giving you one. So
Yeah.
If you don't take the opportunity now, you'll never
You're
get
done.
it. You're done.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned that now. It's just like, that with a kid, too. It's like, we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There we are.
Lots of apologizing.
Well, you know, it wasn't the best, but hey, wasn't the worst. Like pizza.
Yeah, I know that because it was the worst a while ago.
I remember the worst.
That's
you
right.
remember the worst.
Yeah.
This, not the worst.
That's a good tip. Give her the worst at least once in
Once
the
a year,
relationship.
give her the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. So everything, is compared to the worst, and then it's got to be.
You got to do it January 1.
First of the year.
Squeeze out a fart while you're doing it.
That's what you do.
No, come on.
I've done that.
Too far.
I've done that.
That'll do
Everybody's
it.
done that,
That'll do
right?
it.
I've never.
That tops the number one. Yeah.
I have never done it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're,
Yeah.
what about her? I've had that.
Don't tell our business.
happen sometimes. You're mashing on her Taco Tuesdays.
Jesus Christ. We're getting racy on ST.
I'm just saying. You put an elbow in the Taco Tuesdays. Sometimes things happen.
Act like I never even heard it. Like my pop-up saying the N-word. Just keep the conversation going.
And if you're at a Wendy's, just I'm going to the bathroom, Pop-Up. Stand here alone. Just
pretend
I need to put a little social distancing between you.
Pretend like it never happened.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll take one. We'll come back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Happy, what is this, Tuesday?
Cinco de Mayo.
Hey!
Cinco de Nerdo.
Hey, happy Stinko de Rinko!
We want to remind everybody that if you want to celebrate Cinco with some delicious Mexican food, some tacos, go to Gringos. There's 2 different promotions. If you go to the Milk District, Michigan location, or downtown location, by to-go orders,
you drop by to pick up your food.
Yeah, or you call in for an order, mention Tom and Dan, and they will put in maybe a Gringo's White Claw koozie while supplies last, or a Tom and Dan koozie. We dropped off magnets and stickers, so you'll get that. Just mention, hey, Tom and Dan listener, they'll throw that in your order. And their UCF location and their catering location on Lee Road, go to the Gringos social media. You'll see the number to call, but they're doing a family 4-pack of Double D's, and it comes with like 8 hard shell tacos, 8 soft shells, all the ingredients.
We tried to order that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's gone.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, you had to pre-order by Saturday.
No, dude.
Yeah, yep. Had it on my calendar. Called them up, and they were so nice, but they felt bad. They're like, "Look, we had to. We've had people just slamming us.
Okay.
Oh, they've gone taco crazy." And Andrea called, and he was very nice, but he's like, "We had to count and find how many.
There's a limited.
It's the craziest Cinco de Mayo for pickup we've ever had.
Yeah.
People are taco
sense.
nuts.
Yeah,
but I'm still. I said, screw it. We're just gonna. Yeah, I'll just go down there after work.
Yeah.
Like whatever. I'll just stand with a mask. Whatever I got to do.
So just call, mention
Gotta have a taco.
Tom and Dan, and they'll throw in a little gift for
They
you.
will indeed. But yeah, support Gringos. They support us and have for a very, very long time. Let's get to it, because I know we will run out of time, because I'll get to talking and forget that this gentleman's on the line.
I know.
Nerds. 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 Nerd. Jock. Nerd.
Tommy Gilligan, he missed the deal too. He must have called when I called.
No.
So I'm telling you, got to get on that stuff fast, man, because these restaurants, they have to prepare. They have limited staff, and they got to bust their asses to get these tacos out. So if you did miss it, hey, you're with me. You can stand in line with me 6 feet apart, Tommy, and we'll wear our mask and we'll wait for our tacos.
Or just call the other locations, get some Double D's yourself.
Oh, I'm not getting Double D's. That's happening. It's going to happen. It's just not. I should have prepared
I've been
better.
Uber eating Gringos every weekend.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Nice.
Good.
It's a problem.
Yeah, let's just say I've been riding my Peloton a lot more than I have, because I've been gaining a little weight with this quarantine eating is a little out of control. But anyway, on the line with us now is our good friend EJ. What's up, EJ?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, man, good to see you. I missed you. I'm kind of with Tom.
I miss you guys.
I'm
just come see you.
You got me in the
Guys, but
feels.
it sucks.
You got me in the feels a little bit, seeing your very ogre-like head.
My God. It is a bad angle.
Yeah,
EJ.
that's a bad angle on you.
Is it
You,
better that way?
you look
Never
like
look up with the camera. It's always bad.
You know what you look like? You look like Sammy Sosa Shrek. Like you've been
My
bleaching.
skin's not bleached enough.
You're bleaching the green out.
He's a Shreky Sosa.
You're Shrek. Put that on the list one. Put it right after racist. Who was it? Racist Norm.
Oh, yeah.
Put on there Sammy Sosa. What is it?
Shreky Sosa.
Shreky. I can't even say
God.
that. Shreky Sosa. There we go.
So it's Born and then Shreky Sosa. Thanks.
No, Shreky Sosa looks better. You do look like you just look like regular Shrek. Shrek fell in a Joker fist tank.
Oh, my God.
Toxic waste.
So, what do we got today, EJ?
Let's start with sports. You guys were talking about prenup in the pre-show. Did you hear the story about Steven Jackson and his prenup?
No.
He's a basketball player that used to play for the Indiana Pacers, and he was like friends with Stephon Marbury. and he wanted to get a prenup with his wife, his fiance, and kept on asking her to sign it. And then the day of the wedding, he calls off the wedding at the wedding and says, "You didn't sign the prenup." And then she starts crying and saying, "Hey, I'll sign." He's like, No. That's under duress. That won't hold up in court. So we're not here doing the party. And then Stephon Marbury at the reception plays Gold Digger.
God damn.
Wow, dude.
that is
What a D-head.
That's
extreme.
an intense day.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
an intense day.
I don't like that.
Yeah, there's other ways
There
to
was no
handle
need
it.
for that.
No.
You wasted everyone's time coming to that wedding.
Well, at the same time, like, you should be on her more to make her sign the prenup if you guys both agreed to it before.
Yeah, but
Right.
you're getting off on her duress too. You know, you threw
On
that.
embarrassing her.
Yeah, you're getting off
Yeah.
on that, and that makes you a sick person, right? You know,
Oh, he's a bad person. I don't disagree. It's just a crazy story.
Well, there's,
Wow.
there's different business reasons. Because basically it's just a contract. When you get married, you're entering into a legal contract with this person. And because of that, if you are a business owner, millionaire before, like sometimes like the lawyers and a bunch of people will tell you that this is the best business thing to do because you are entering a legal contract, regardless of the love and, getting married to this person.
He even said that, like, you weren't there in the gym with me working out, doing the reps and stuff like that, so why do you deserve half this?
It's, that's their business. And also, something that he's got to work out with her way before the last moment before you get married, then call it. That's ridiculous.
You're also wasting your own money at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're going through with this like weird fake party and you knew it the whole
Right.
time.
That's what makes it
like
weird.
that.
I think the reception was like $200,000.
Yeah,
is what he spent on the
Like a
reception.
month-
You're a dumb person if you did that.
a month
Yeah.
before you get married, you have to go to the person and be like, "Hey, this can't happen." Like, there has to be some sort of pre-planning.
Clearly, they weren't communicating.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
Yeah,
like,
they
you
weren't
know what?
talking
You shouldn't
about
get married anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds
That's
to
a
me.
tell.
Yeah, it sounds to me like he didn't want to get married. Obviously because he didn't get married, and it also, again, sounds like a sick person wanting to get off on somebody else's embarrassment, which is weird.
Yeah.
Unless it's on the radio with what we do by picking on people, that's totally cool.
Well, also you wasted like 200. You wasted an insane amount of money.
But that also means you're a crazy person.
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
willing
Right.
to, because
Don't want to lose the money in a prenup, but I'll waste money on a fake party.
could have erased the whole day
It
and
probably
get.
was cheaper for that, though. The party for $200,000. If he loses half of what he's worth, I think he was worth like $16 million.
Well,
Well,
that's
well,
not
yeah.
even really how it works. Like, just because you get married, it doesn't immediately mean
Right.
the other person.
Yeah, it
is
depends on the state you're in and all that.
Yes.
stuff,
and how long
so.
you're married.
Yeah, sometimes
Sure.
long-term marriages determine whether how much you have to pay. Also, we've done this
There's
for
stipulations, like if she
Yeah.
steps out on the marriage,
I mean,
she
if you
could lose
don't,
out on the money.
if you didn't want to get married 2 months before, or a month prior to this, like what I'm only going to call a practical joke now, you could have both had a conversation like adults and then filmed a video of you two together saying, "Look, we're not going to get married, but here's $200,000
Let's
for
have a
all the
party."
people that lost their jobs
Oh, yeah.
because
Or
of
something,
COVID, and here's a bunch of money, and there you go." Because you're just wasting it, and when people see that, oh man,
Is he how old is
doing?
this guy? He's probably in his what?
late 20s,
I want to say early 30s.
early
Early
30s.
30s. Oh,
Because, he's retired from the NBA.
gotcha. Okay. I was about to say like maybe it's just a younger kid that's dumb, but this is just.
Well, you can hold your maturity level for a
I
long
think, he's a
time.
dumb person. Anyway, what else we got for sports?
Well, we got to talk about Don Shula. I hate to bring it up, but he's
Yeah.
such a big figure
Yeah.
for me and Tom for sure. So
He's in that big dolphin tank in the sky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was saddened by Don Shula's passing, but
9 years old. That's a good.
That's a good run.
Yep, he had a
a
good
good
run. Made it as old as my pop. You hit 90, and you're basically at the end of what a human is capable of living to. So you made a good run. He had a good life. He very successful. I met him one time at the radio station.
Are you adjusting your weight bench?
By
Yeah, we
far.
met
No, it's just craziness.
We met him, but unfortunately for you and I, we met him when he was a little more frail.
Yeah.
So it,
still
like-
able to walk though.
Oh,
because
yeah. Well, no, we're still there. He had his brain, and
Yeah.
but I wish I'd met him a little more, like being lifted up by the players.
I think it was when he opened his Shula's in Lake Mary.
The smaller concept that has like sandwiches and
The
stuff.
burger, like
Yeah,
Shula Burger.
Shula's 815 or something. Yeah, I don't know.
But he came into the radio station with his son, and I remember making the joke that at that time it was one of the most famous people I've ever met in real life, just because of me, because of the Dolphins, and
But now you've met Pauly Shore and Leonard Oots.
and I mentioned that I had the split second feeling to punch him in the face as hard as I could.
Oh my god.
No, this is kind of like jumping off a cruise
Did you
ship.
tell him this to his face?
No, but I made a bit about it. I think I did my 1 minute of comedy. Anyway, it's kind of like you having that fleeting, like split second feeling to jump off a cruise ship or to jump off of
Yes.
a bridge or whatever. It's like that weird, bizarre. Like that's what I had to like. I'm gonna punch this guy in the face. Like ridiculous. I'd never do it,
Yeah.
but I had a feeling it was because he was so famous.
Every old person I see, I want to punch him in the face.
It was just because I couldn't believe Don Shula was standing in front of me. But yeah, it's sad. But had a good run at it.
Yeah. The other thing I have for the NFL is the schedule is supposed to be released on Thursday, what they're saying. So, yeah.
Oh,
I know we talked about the schedule and that they were supposed to, like, Atlanta's supposed to play Tampa. That was just a interim schedule. So.
Yeah, I saw the BDMs are attacking you.
That's the other thing I got to make
What
what is
happened?
it?
Well,
Apology. I messed up the Masters. The Masters is in Augusta, Georgia, not Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But let's be serious. They're about the same town if you really break it down enough.
yeah.
I mean, closer than they are apart.
I felt stupid because I knew the Masters were in Augusta, and but for whatever reason, like I just I trust when other people are like, "There, it's
I said it
here."
with confidence, and it was believable.
Yeah, yeah, and then I was like,
a lot,
all right.
two
A lot of
people called
times,
me out on it.
a lot of times I won't correct things that are said, like especially on the show, because I just want this to be over with. The whole show.
Yeah.
The whole show, I just like I don't want to be the guy in the meeting that starts cracking jokes that everybody's like, look, we just want to get out of
Yeah,
here.
you're just extending
Yeah.
the meeting.
I told my wife that because my wife's like, oh, they're doing another Zoom thing, so I got to pick out. I'm like, no.
It's like
Tell them your camera doesn't work. That way you can streamline it and just sit there quietly. Don't ask any questions.
when Tommy starts telling me a long story,
my
I don't ask him to,
Oh.
like, hey, start over. I don't understand this.
More details, more details.
Yeah, just get it over with.
I'll pause for a snack.
So let's go back to the NFL schedule because I saw that they announced that they'll probably scrap, which totally makes sense. The
preseason.
Yay!
the Mexico and London games, like the international
Oh, yeah.
games. But
That makes sense.
let's talk about because I've been listening to a couple podcasts and
Ew.
they're brainstorming what the possibility of an NFL season looks like and how it will play out and what they think they're going to do.
It's going to be 3 games each team.
And I don't
Only
know.
play your conference, yeah.
Have you
No out of conference. That probably
have
so
you
limit the travel.
have you researched this, EJ?
No, not really. Because
Research.
nothing's concrete.
EJ?
Everything's speculation. So you can't really research it.
I know
They're only guessing.
me and Cabin Boy Matt, we've been texting back and forth. He's like, my
You going to marry him, bro?
he's my gambling friend. I got a couple gambling text friends. By the way, text them more than anybody else.
You'll
My
return
wife,
it,
I
for
can
sure.
text Tom
Not
right
mine.
now and say the fish tank burned down the studio, get nothing back. But if I text him, hey, man, I got a buddy that can get you a line on some girls volleyball betting, he'd be like, oh, give me his number. Let's do it. Oh, yeah.
and he is kind of a pessimist when it comes to the NFL season. He's like, man, I think it's going to start like in October or whatever. And to me, I'm like, I think there's way too much money in the TV rights, and that's where everybody's looking at. And I think that, even though they're going to lose massive amounts of money on the actual, like,
Stadiums. Yeah.
stadiums and having people in the stadiums and the concession and all that, the money they're going to make up in the TV TV rights because think about it. When the NFL comes back, everybody's going to be watching it, even if you don't even like the NFL. Just something, It's like kind of like the NFL draft had the biggest audience it's ever had in history. More people have watched the NFL draft this year than any time before.
Not good.
No, but people were dying for content and they wanted an escape and stuff. So
football is. You're also underestimating the fact that, and I'll put myself in this category. Yeah. There is a certain level of comfort that comes with, like football to me, and knowing that first game is going to be played. Take the Falcons out. Let's just say they don't win a game this year. Doesn't matter. I still get a level of, as an anxiety boy, I get comfort from football on the TV. There's just something about it. Gotta have it on.
I usually am in a good mood throughout the football season.
Gotta have it on,
as soon as it's gone, I'm getting a kind of depression.
Yeah, and you were a player, so that makes sense to me. Like, for me, I don't know, there's just something about putting it on Sunday, the vibe, it just, I don't know, it's just something I do.
And I've listened to people debate it and theorize about how they're going to do it, and some people are like, well, how, even with no fans in the stadiums and everything, there's just so many people as a part of a NFL team staff, and so many players, and everybody on the field, and I've heard some people talk about, what if one person tests positive, then they're going to start having to quarantine the entire team and then figure out who they were in contact with. It'll be too much of a mess, and the pessimists saying that's not going to happen. Yeah. I think that there's so much money involved, and the NFL. Listen, do you think the NFL is beyond keeping things quiet? They've been doing it for years. If someone does test positive, how no one dies on Disney property
because you cart them off.
Yeah. I think that it's so much money, and there's so huge money that if someone did test positive, that they would immediately try to hide the fact that this person tests positive, get them away.
What do you do if the person passes on? Do you do the old what you would do if a hamster dies? You go to the pet store, get one that looks just like it?
I don't know.
If Brady dies, do we immediately start searching for a guy that looks like Brady? We put him out there, and then we get him, and then he's going to take a hit, and then he's injured, and then you just don't see him for a while?
All these guys are in pretty good shape. I think they're fine, but it's going to be interesting what they do, but
I still like my idea from last week where you get all the crazy players, put them on one team. Awesome.
I am betting on the fact that they start normal time and it's on TV at least, and maybe no crowds, but that they're putting the product on TV. I just think there's too much money.
Then if no crowds, then you have to rescind the fines that Atlanta got for pumping up fake crowd noise. Because we're now going to all fake crowd noise.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, they deserve what they got. Shouldn't have been cheating. But are we going to do that? You going to pump in crowd? You going to play music? What are you going to do?
You probably put in fake crowd, I would assume.
How do you pick what the
fake crowds?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just play jock jams the whole time.
I love.
Yeah, they're doing baseball in Korea right now, and they're doing it. And the first pitch was thrown out by a kid in a bubble. And he walked to the catcher.
Did he throw it?
Social distancing first pitch.
He
didn't really throw the ball. He was in a bubble.
And he had the ball. Did he have the ball in the bubble?
He walked over to the catcher as the first pitch.
Well, he's not creative. He should have thrown himself. He should have just jumped. Mm-hmm. He's a ball.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But that's what they're showing it on ESPN now. They're showing Korean baseball with no one in the stands, but they're pumping in crowd noise, and in Korea they sing songs like soccer does. For baseball.
Oh, like chants? That's cool.
I would like to see a bubble boy in the bubble, have the ball in the bubble with him, throw it, it hits the bubble, and then just rolls down to his feet. I would like that.
I thought you were going to go, I hope the batter hits the ball.
No, I don't want the kid. No, I just think the kid. It's also, I've always wanted to get in one of those plastic bubbles that you see at water parks or fairs that you can rent, and you get in it, and I want to get one of those.
Have you seen when they do it with the bulls? They're in the bubble, and the bulls hit the bubbles.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I want that.
The thing is, it looks way more fun than it is.
It's hot in there.
It's just hot, and it's kind
of recycled your own air.
about 10 minutes in, you're like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll never go
Those
back.
things are like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Velcro, like human Velcro wall.
Yeah.
About
Oh,
3
yeah.
jumps, you're out, right?
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't be peeled off of this anymore.
And even the third jump, you're like, 2 was good.
I mean, here's a hot take. I feel that way about trampoline parks.
yeah.
Because, like, first couple of jumps are fun, but just walking on it, I'm like, my knees are bouncing too high. Driving me nuts.
There's a lot of things in life that if you one time is good. Parasailing, they're just that's fun.
Yeah, I've done that twice, and you're right. The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time was exhilarating. Second time wasn't that great.
Yeah. Seeing the Eiffel Tower, you see it one time, you're like, whoa, and then after that, I'm
What
like,
about with lights?
Yeah, one time.
Eiffel,
You're like,
you got to go Eiffel and then Eiffel with
Yeah,
lights.
yeah.
What else you got, EJ?
Well, I have one that's transitioned between nerd and jock. Do you guys remember The Mountain? What's
Yes.
his name? God,
I was
let me
just
get his
thinking of this
name
guy
right.
last night. I was watching that behind-the-scenes Mandalorian deal, not to dip in a nerd.
Yeah.
I was watching Disney Gallery. If anybody hasn't watched that, Jon Favreau sits around with all the directors from Mandalorian.
Yeah, Tiki Watiti's. I got a story about him, too.
It's really good.
Yeah. The guy, Half-Bore Bjornsson, he's 6'9", 452 pounds. He deadlifted 1,104 pounds
my
for a
God.
world record.
Yeah, now he's you're talking about The Mountain, correct?
The Mountain, yeah.
That guy is like, there's something that wrong with him in the fact that like and I mean this like as a compliment, like he's able to like much like a lot of like Eastern medicine or monks or people that have like extreme concentration of mind
Buddhists or
control.
something,
Yeah. He is able to like lift seemingly, and it looks like he's in great pain, but it's almost like he can shut it down because I was watching one of the strongman competitions that EJ's talking about, and this guy is lifting, and you see his ankle just explode.
Oh.
And then he just like he walks off and he's limping, and then he just has him. He's like, they're going to wrap it up, and then I'm just going to go back. And then he just goes back in there, and he's like, I'm able to shut it off. He just has to shut off the pain. Goes back in there and lifts even more.
Did you see EJ?
He's a true Viking.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also he just confirmed he's going to face off with Eddie Hall in a boxing match next year.
He'll be slow.
Well,
They're both going to be slow.
did you see him sparring with McGregor? McGregor looks like a tiny boy.
Like an ant.
Yeah. He's like,
And McGregor's lighting
I'm
him
gonna
up,
watch it
too,
now.
'cause he can move.
I mean, they're not really. I mean, they're.
Oh my God, the size difference.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a giant man. I mean, like,
He's only 31 years old.
yeah, he's relatively young, and I think doesn't he have brothers that do exactly the same thing, and they all look alike?
Yeah,
I think
there's-
so, yeah.
Like the whole family
Good
is like the
genes, yeah.
mega family.
It's like the.
It's the Gronks.
Yeah, the Gronks.
But then I think the
Or
first.
the Watts.
But I got
Like
to tell
JJ Watt, his
you,
brother.
because I am a child, the first question I want to think of is about their mama, and I want to. You know, I want to know. Did she make it?
Yeah.
You know, she may not have made it.
It's hard to believe that that
I'm
guy,
supposed to talk about a person's mama.
the Mountain, and Vern Troyer are technically both humans. Like how?
Like a Norm Macdonald joke.
Technically.
That's terrible.
I'm just saying that those two people are humans and they're that far apart from each other. Like what the hell? They should be. We should have a different category. It's like the hummingbird and the ostrich. It just doesn't make any sense. How could they both be birds? Anyway,
All right,
what else we
let's
got,
go to
sir?
nerd stuff. I got a story for, I think, each of you. Let's do Samantha's one first. You hear they're going to do Hercules live action, and Josh Gad is probably going to be Phil, but he says he doesn't want to do it. He wants
kinda
Danny
over
DeVito
Josh
to
Gad.
reprise his role.
Who is that?
Olaf.
Olaf.
Oh,
It's too much.
putting him in
He was in
everything.
Beauty and the Beast. He's Olaf. Like, it's a bit much.
I like him as Olaf, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not
It's too
anti
much.
him at
no,
all.
No. Just
You
too
know,
much.
He's got a
oversaturation.
I feel the same way in this. I mean this with love for both of them. Jack Black. You know, you can go a little more, but Jack, I feel like, has this ability now, especially to even pull back.
yeah.
You know, because I've seen him do some like dramatic stuff, and I'm like, whoa, you're really good. You know, but Josh Gad, and I know he can do the dramatic stuff as well.
Sure.
Doesn't seem to. It's just all like
He has in the past, but it's just like
Broadway,
it's too much.
Olaf-y singing type, dancing type stuff, right?
It's too much.
Yeah.
We get
Yeah.
it, Disney.
Yeah.
But there's other actors out there.
I'm kind of over the live action deal. Like I'm.
Yeah,
I
they're
would
doing
like
a
some
lot
new
of them, but they
stories.
make money, so they can't stop
Right.
doing it. So
Hercules, one of the most boring stories, right?
How dare you?
No way! I love Hercules.
Great music in that movie.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
make you guys sad. The Disney one, I've only seen bits and pieces. I've never
should
gone all the
check
way
it out.
through.
Me
Amazing.
neither.
It's worth watching.
I
yeah.
get bored
Especially
in
with
it.
The muses when they sing.
Yeah.
I get bored in it and I pull out of it.
Hercules is the one that he fights the giant at the end, or is that David?
fights
That's
a lot
David
of
and
stuff.
Goliath.
He does the
You've been
12
hanging out at your
labors and all
son's
that
school
stuff.
too much. No, Hercules is that the one? That's the one that has Hades in it,
Yes.
right? And that's James Wood, who is known to have the biggest penis in Hollywood.
I'm
Back to
sorry?
you, EJ.
I thought it was Willem Dafoe in Antichrist.
No. James
James Wood
Woods
is bigger?
is said to be the largest in Hollywood.
Isn't he also super smart?
And
Like-
also extremely conservative.
Like Mensa
Yeah, very
smart?
conservative.
he might be, but he's ultra conservative.
So, what else we got?
Okay, well, the one for you, Tom, Demolition Man 2 is a go,
Yeah.
according to Sylvester Stallone.
I was
So they're
holding
bringing
that-
back the sex helmets and the three seashells.
I purposely did not say that to you yesterday because I figured EJ would pick it up.
So,
Seashells are back, baby.
do we know anything about what this, like, what the plot is? Is it a continuation of the last one?
I assume so. I think it's going to be like, okay, how does society change after he comes back and they realize that they were being controlled by, what was the guy's name? Klepto or whatever his name was? The one that was in charge of everything that made Simon Phoenix have all that stuff inside his head?
Yeah. And the ending with, not to spoil it, or Demolition Man 1, does Wesley Snipes die or does he get refrozen?
He died. He gets his
Oh,
head
great.
kicked off
Spoiler
after he gets
alert.
frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers.
Wait a minute, you guys just did both. Does he get frozen or does he die? And then EJ goes, he got his head kicked off when he was frozen.
That's
what
right.
are you guys doing?
I've never seen it, so now I
It's a
know.
movie from '96.
Yeah,
Don't do that crap.
But
I've
we're-
never seen it.
But I feel like there should be an addendum rule that if a part 2 is coming out, then you got to reseal part 1
No.
to give people the ability
No.
to
Yeah.
catch
I
up.
need to
20
catch
years
up.
is way enough time for you to have
Can't
watched it.
necessarily disagree with you, EJ, but
So,
I feel bad for Sam because it's a fun
Sam
movie.
wasn't going to watch it in the first place.
I
Just say that
think
to make
she
me
would
feel
get
bad.
drunk and watch that with her
Yeah.
husband. Yeah,
And then make fun of it on my podcast.
yeah, because it's
Well,
good.
that's-
Well, it's not good. It's just,
Exactly.
It's fun.
It
It's
is fun.
nostalgic.
I
There's
disagree with you. I
there's
think
a
it's
difference
great.
between good and fun.
yeah, so Sylvester Stallone is going to play his part now. It
Yeah.
has to be, 25 years from the last one because he's a little bit old fudgy now. So it's not.
Yeah.
He's not as fudgy as Schwarzenegger because I think he's still juicing
Yeah, he's
hard.
doing the HGH, yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Remember because he got popped for leaving Australia with it that one time?
Yeah. He's definitely.
He's
HGH,
also
though.
got the booby tattoos, the Japanese booby tattoos.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me when old men get Japanese, but like David Lee Roth has Japanese booby tattoos.
Yeah.
It's always weird to me when older men grab. Like I have a lot of tattoos, I'm covered.
Yeah.
but
If
I
you're
don't
like 65, you start getting
Japanese booby
a
tattoos.
full. What's that? The body
Yakuza.
suit. Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to do that.
Yeah, it's like too much.
Maybe I should. Maybe that's what I'm missing right now.
So that's going to be interesting. I mean, is it going to be direct to on demand? Or is it going to be in the?
Well, we can't go to the theaters,
yeah,
Tom.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't like it's just it's
Well,
not
it's in the
even
works,
pre-production.
yeah, so who knows?
We're never
It's like,
going back to
it's
normal,
Sylvester
Sam.
Stallone saying it.
You might be right.
So that's interesting. I wonder what if they can do it because what was the Samantha? Look up the year of Demolition Man.
93.
No.
No.
When they said that the future was because
2032.
yeah, I don't think they can't do because we're in 2020, so 2032, 12 years from now, like
12 years.
we're gonna be Taco Bell will be the only restaurant wiping the seashells.
Well, but they're gonna
ridiculous.
have to bring back Taco Bell, right? They have no choice.
Yeah.
It was so rooted in the original movie. If they don't, then they're going to end up like almost inadvertently throwing tons of shade at Taco Bell if they're like, "Oh, Taco Bell went bankrupt."
Well, no, it says that the sequel says is they both have been reawakened, meaning John Spartan and Simon Phoenix have both been reawakened in 2032 after being cryogenically frozen since 1996. So it was supposed to be in 96 back then. That was their future. And now the Demolition Man 2 will be in 2032.
Hold on. So no,
This is too confusing.
hold on. The original Demolition Man, the year was 1996. No way.
Yeah,
That's what
that
it
was
says.
supposed to be the future. Like the movie was made in '93.
Right.
The beginning of the movie takes part in '96, And then when they get unfrozen, it's 2032.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So
Yeah. So the next one would be like 2040 probably, or 2050, because look how old Sylvester Stallone is. That's the only way we can make
Okay,
sense
so
of it.
we just got to back it or move it forward from 2032.
Well, the funny part is that
Right.
when we get to 2032, someone is going to be literally living in the same house they did in 1996. Like,
And toilet technology will be
nothing-
exactly the same.
yeah, so the internet is really good. That's about it.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
So
This iPhone
yeah.
18's pretty good.
Yeah.
Same stuff. Still
what-
got Snapchat.
What else we got?
Okay, well, because yesterday was May the 4th, so May the 4th with you, and the Revenge of the 5th is today, I guess. So, did you hear about the Order 66 controversy that the new Clone Wars episode just started?
No. Please, tell me.
Okay, Tom, can you explain what Order 66 is?
Of course I can.
He
I don't
knows
know.
Order. He was in Order 65.
I have no
I just
idea.
this is one's for Dan, because I want to see Tom explain Order 66.
I don't even know what that is or what that even is referring to. I
Order
don't-
66, I believe, is a steak, shrimp, chicken, double veggies.
At Kobe.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, that's not right at all.
Double yum
Order
yum, please.
66 is the order that was used by this Supreme Leader Palpatine. Well, not Supreme, Emperor Palpatine.
Supreme
to
Leader
execute all the
Palpatine.
Jedi.
Supreme Chancellor Palpatine.
Yeah.
So, and what is it now? What's the order?
Okay, in the Revenge of the Sith movie, it was used to kill all the Jedi. So, like, anyone except for Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda were killed during Order 66, and some other people that are not canon and some are canon now
Yeah, they
are
were-
the only Jedis to survive Order 66.
They were branded member. Anybody that was a branded member of the Jedi Order were considered traitors to the Republic, so they had immediate executions.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the order.
So the clone trooper shot them and stuff like that, or shot down their ship they were in. But in this episode of the recent Shattered from the Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano was Anakin's apprentice in it. And Rex was trying to shoot her. He was a clone trooper. I love that your face is going right now. And they also tried to kill Darth Maul, who was their prisoner at the time. And it didn't. It shows that they were killing Force users as well, not just Jedi.
No.
And how it kind of retconned the story.
I mean, I just got into Mandalorian, and you're ruining it for me because you're sprinkling all this.
Too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Too nerdy.
Oh, I wanted to go too nerdy for you guys because I could also talk about Giratina Altered Form, Pokemon Raid Hour tomorrow at 6 to 7.
So,
Today's the day.
okay. What?
We just call it.
So back to the Star Wars. What was the point of you telling us this?
Well, because it kind of retconned what they did because it was only supposed to kill Jedi, and because Ahsoka Tano was considered a citizen of the Republic because she wasn't in the Jedi Order anymore, they still tried to kill her even though she wasn't technically a Jedi.
Butler, get in here.
Yeah, I don't know why that even matters, and I don't even know who is it? Plakapakatikkatorn?
We didn't get
Who
to-
is that?
Ahsoka Tano.
We didn't talk to Butler on May 4th because we were doing a bunch of different shows and stuff, and he had a Star Wars shoes on, this whole thing.
Socks.
We
He
didn't.
had a polo.
We didn't get a chance to bully him, but has
Well, we gave him a little bit, not a proper bullying,
Yeah, yeah.
as he would say in his motherland.
I do like he had the Star Wars polo, but it must have been when he was Fat Butler because of big.
I was like, great, the Juggalo's here for the job interview. I was like, you can have a seat out there. I'll be with you in just 1 second, like you're in one.
So, has someone actually sat down and then mapped out the entire Star Wars universe?
Oh, yeah, probably multiple
yeah.
people.
100%.
With all the different planets and all the different species,
Yeah.
and then like literally
Even like extras that are in the movies, they have backstories.
so someone
Except there is no backstory on Baby Yoda. That's the only,
Yeah, that's the only one that
there's
doesn't,
no
like-
It's
backstory.
like
not
Dengar
Baby Yoda.
and
You're
Suckus.
supposed to
Yeah.
refer to it as the child.
Well, he said it.
Why? What is it?
I just had somebody yell that at me.
Oh, God.
And I wanted to kill him.
Tons of nerds.
Like, and I don't get angry. I'm not a violent person, but if I'm watching Mandalorian and I'm loving it, then I am. I think it's amazing. Like, I finished it. I watched the behind the scenes thing last night, the Disney Gallery deal. And I said Baby Yoda, and somebody's like, "It's the child," and I just want to strangle him.
Oh, Tuna Daddy is arguing crazy with EJ in the chat.
Well,
He's
call
saying
in.
EJ's getting it all wrong.
Call in. We'll get them all on the line, and we'll nerd it out, I
He
guess.
said, firstly, there are only supposed to be 2 Siths, so the Order wouldn't need to include them. Secondly, just because Osaka isn't a member of the Jedi Order doesn't make her not a Jedi.
Take that.
Good job. That's why you're the boss.
In front of the guy that tried to kill her.
It's fun being the boss, isn't it?
I guess she's not part of the Jedi Order, so she wouldn't be a Jedi.
So,
She's a Force user, yes, but not a Jedi.
I want to push
I
your
kind of
camera
agree
over
with you.
right now.
is there, okay, so Yoda, let me ask you this one final question. That's
Wait,
Okay.
is he Yoda now?
Yeah.
what?
Old Yoda or young Yoda?
You have to speak like
the
Yoda
child.
now, EJ.
No, you're Sammy Sosa Yoda. You're Sosa Yoda.
Is there more of the species that Yoda is, or is he the only one left?
There is no backstory that is official canon for Yoda or his species yet. And that's what The Mandalorian is establishing right now. And that's why they haven't done any backstory.
Gotcha. So no one's ever shown multiple of what Yoda is, or
There was only
there was.
one other Yoda species, and it was Yaddle, and it was in episode 1, and she was part of the Jedi Council, but then she's gone after that.
Correct.
And they don't really have much backstory for her.
Well, why don't these creatures live very long?
Yeah. Well, no,
They
no.
live
They
a
look like
long
They
No,
have-
but
they're
obviously
really
they're not
strong
very
force
hardy
users,
if there's
so-
only 2 of them left and one of them's missing.
Yeah, yeah.
Is she too small? Is she lost?
Distant planet, bro.
So
You're wasting your goddamn life.
that's what I feel.
I mean,
I'm trying.
I love nerdy stuff.
This is my Animal Crossing. Leave me alone.
I know, but Animal Crossing, I think I'm going to phase out of that at some point. I don't think I'm going to dedicate my life to it.
Start getting tattoos
I'm
of,
having fun right now, but I don't feel that when I'm like 85, I'll be checking and getting announcements from Isabel.
Yeah, you can
or
have
Isabella or whatever her name is.
a huge Tom Nook backpiece.
That would be pretty
Tom
dope.
Nook is going to
though.
haunt your nightmares.
Yeah, he's going to bully me hard because I probably will get an Animal Crossing tattoo. I probably will.
All right. One more story.
You freaked out there for a second. Did you hear him have a mini heart attack? He was like, okay.
Well, the last one I definitely got to talk about is Nick Cage is getting cast as Joe Exotic.
I saw
I
that
thought
it.
that was fake.
on Facebook. Is that real?
I saw it on multiple sources, so if it is,
It's gonna be like
then
a
they're reporting
series,
from the
right?
same place, probably.
It's a scripted series too. It's
Yeah.
not even like a.
So,
I'm over it.
yeah, do,
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'd love for something new to happen. I don't want to just keep rehashing
Why
what's.
he's in prison.
Yeah, I want him out. Like I want him to get out. I want to follow the court case. I
Yeah,
want to know
yeah,
the intimate details of him trying to kill her. I want more of her.
Also, isn't it like fascinating to all of us because they're real people? Like, if you're seeing Nick Cage play Joe Exotic, like his depiction of Joe Exotic is never going to be as good as the real person,
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be disappointing because now we're now telling a fictional story of where we wanted to go.
Right,
with,
because it's a scripted show.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like
and it's inauthentic.
because I've talked to Crystal about this, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like the only reason it was super popular is because it was real, and if you actually made these characters and it was a fictional show, it'd be so over-the-top ridiculous that it wouldn't be entertaining. It's like, I can't even believe the character of Joe Exotic, right? Except for the fact that he's real,
Yeah.
and I don't want to see Nick Cage.
If Nick Cage does it,
Play-
then it's just a skit on Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
that
Because
kinda-
the whole series, it's like an 8-part series, scripted show, and it's like how he became who he was and how he fought. It's like that's exactly what the documentary series
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
You're, not,
Yeah.
you're not showing us anything new, and it's also going to be fake.
And
You're
there's-
showing us a less real version of what
Yeah.
we already know.
Right.
And there's probably real footage because this guy filmed everything because he's a nut job
Exactly.
of all this anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see the real footage of Joe Exotic than nutty ass, Nick Cage play Joe.
Is this going to be on Netflix then?
I think it got.
CBS is.
You know what I
God,
want?
that's
You know what
even
I'd rather
worse.
have?
So it's
Okay.
going to be produced by Imagine Television Studios and CBS. Television
Follow me
Studios.
with this. If you really want to remember, not even like I want to say 6 months ago, Nick Cage was hitting up every karaoke bar in L.A.
Yeah.
singing "Purple Rain" and screaming it because he was so sad. He was drunk.
Just divorced his wife after 2 days. Yeah.
We released Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic plays Nick Cage in a miniseries.
Yes.
About
I'm into that.
About how
yeah.
crazy Nick Cage is,
Yes.
but Joe Exotic plays Nick Cage.
I'm in.
Yeah.
on
Boom.
I'm on board.
That's how you do
100%.
it.
Yeah.
I'm an idea
Take
guy.
my money.
I'm an idea guy.
I'm already done. Like now,
I'm not done. I'll watch it, but give me something
real.
new.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
something new.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
need Nick Cage playing,
And I don't need the guy from what is it? Talk Soup up there making jokes.
Joel McHale.
I want more of the real story. But if you don't have anything else, then let's just let it die, right? Because we
Yeah.
all enjoyed
Yeah.
it, and let's just let it be what it is.
Well, you know what this is? This stinks
Don't F it out.
of a bunch of people. It stinks of greed because a bunch of people, executives and people that put shows together, saw the popularity of Tiger King and how, like, because of this whole situation, it was the hottest thing on the internet for weeks. And a bunch of people were like, we got to capitalize on this. And then now it's way too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
it
many
burned.
people are going to watch it.
No, it burned hot, and people are done with it, and that's how our society is. Things are popular for maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
Look at that. I just started hating Animal Crossing.
That's all
See how it works?
Yeah.
You see how it works?
It's
that
fast.
I didn't even.
that
That
fast.
wasn't even a conscious thought.
Yeah.
It just happens.
The last thing I had was Space Force, the Steve Carell show that they're going to do on Netflix on the 25th,
All
29th of May.
Who else is in that?
Dude, John Malkovich is in it. Oh, crap. I have a whole list of the cast, but I'm not near the computer.
It's not Fred
But there's-
Armisen's show, right?
Yeah, Fred Willard's supposed to be in it. Jane Lynch is supposed to be in it. There's like a whole bunch of people in it. It looks good. Like they just released the trailer today.
That's good. I mean,
I'll check it out.
I'll watch that. I've been watching that.
It's based on the people from Office, so I think they're going to have that Office vibe.
I've been watching that show, Morning Show on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Steve Carell's in it. And he's playing, basically, who was the guy that got booted off of
Matt Lauer.
Yeah, he's playing like a Matt Lauer character, with like accused of sexual misconduct and all of that. It's pretty good.
Is it a drama or comedy?
It's a drama, but he plays a good job. Like he's not playing.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, it's cool seeing Steve Carell in this particular role, and I'm like, it's good. Like he doesn't have to be Michael from The Office.
We're out of time, EJ.
All right.
I'm sorry, buddy.
The only thing I got to say is Happy Mother's Day to my wife and my mom. That's all I got to say.
Well, that's lovely.
Love you guys.
All
Talk
right.
to you later.
Love you too.
I almost yelled something. I held myself back.
What were you going to yell? My God. Yeah, now I kind of want you to yell it because it'd be terrible. Let's take a break. We'll come back and finish out the hour with some voicemails. You're listening to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So on the Skype with us right now.
God, you sound like such a grandpa.
On the Skype.
I don't know how is that how you're supposed to say it. I do sound like a grandpa.
I mean, like, I don't even think you have to say anything now because this is like the new normal, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think you have to say like
yeah.
live via Skype or live via Zoom
Yeah,
or
you're right.
on the Skype as you so perfectly said it. I feel like the one thing that I love about you, if I can, just real quick before we introduce our guest, is you have this incredible knack for always embarrassing me in front of all of our guests and friends.
Yeah. I do it on purpose.
And I just want to tell you how much I absolutely despise it and hate it. And it makes me despise and hate you, and it makes me wish you were dead.
Oh, man.
That's what I wanted to tell you.
Subtle bullying is the best type of bullying.
It is. Because I can't get out of it.
Yeah,
Because this is live, or not live, but it's recorded. But, I mean, this is a product that we have to put out.
Like, I could pick you up and dunk your head in the toilet.
You could.
But that's too much. It's a subtle
It's
little
also
chipping
so
away.
hacky to pick the little guy up and put his head in the toilet. Come on, you're better than that.
Did that really happen, brother? Anyway, sorry.
Of course it did.
Did bullies really do that?
Speaking of head in the toilet.
Yeah. I watched the special last night. I loved it on Amazon, iTunes. You can get it right now.
Yes.
Get out of here, devil. It's our friend Dan Cummins. What's going on, Dan?
Hey man, thank you. That was pleasant to witness your guys' brutal harassment there.
Yeah, the breakup of the show live, live on the show.
Yeah. It turns.
I like the very friendly, like smiley, death threat. Just I want to kill you.
Yeah,
but in a happy tone. The tone was nice.
Well, that's how we're able to just keep it moving down the tracks.
Yeah.
Because there's no plan B, Dan. You know that.
This is all we got. So Dan, let's talk about the special real quick. I watched it last night with my wife.
The production values
was
on
great.
this particular special are phenomenal, dude. Well done.
Oh, thanks, man. It was Comedy Dynamics. They do a good job. They're like outside of outside of like the Netflix originals. They actually they do some of those, but they do the most comedy specials right now, and they really have it down to a science. It was impressive just to see the production, because I've shot multiple things over the years, but man, it's like they rolled in. They had everything dialed in perfectly. They made it so easy. Their editing was crazy. Like after we finished it, I was expecting to wait for a month or 2 months to see like the rough cut of the first cut of the special. I think they sent me something in 2 days. I was like, how is that even possible?
My God. Yeah.
They were on it.
Also, Dan, I saw you put on Instagram that you're number 1 on iTunes.
Congrats, man.
And when did you film this special? Because I feel like, if there's a silver lining in any of this, like comedians that film their special prior to this and then it's done and can release it during these times where everybody is at home and is craving anything to watch, like has made out of, I feel like this is better for specials and for anything, any content that's getting released right now.
I mean, it was, and that was definitely planned. I remember right after we filmed it in October, I took a trip to Wuhan, China, and I started around with these bats and these pangolins, and I was like, I gotta spread it here, and then I gotta get the 5G to boost it around the world, and kind of get it timed right for people to watch now. But no, it is nice to like. For me, it was nice to. I hadn't seen it since we barely started editing it, and then I did like watch it for a little like Instagram kind of Q&A thing. I wanted to familiarize myself again, and it was just nice to see like, oh yeah, it wasn't that long ago that things were like this. Like just in October, everybody was going to venues, and people were hanging out, and I was like, okay, this is we'll get back there, and it was just a nice reminder of a more normal time.
And so what I found interesting, and I kind of want to talk about podcasting and your podcast, and also we appreciate you bringing us up on Bert Kreischer's latest episode.
Yeah, that's why anybody would do that is beyond me. But thank you, dude.
Yeah, a bunch of BDMs had told us like, hey, Dan and Bert were talking about you. They gave you a shout out, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. And like that stuff really we do appreciate, dude, and it's awesome to do that. But so
that's another long play too, though. I've been planning that since I first met you guys. There's been a whole series of plans. The end payoff is I want both you guys to my at the same time, and I know that you're not into that, so I just have to slowly build through like rapport, and I had to start a podcast. This has all been leading to a moment that's coming up.
Let me ask you something.
We're ready now.
Yeah, did Bert Kreischer tell you that we don't like to double? Because I'm fully in. In fact,
Daniel was in before.
I was double not even before you even Skyped in.
It was the Bert Kreischer plug that got me fully in.
Yeah.
That was the final straw. I'm ready. I have no
and I
gag
can't think of two I'd rather more than Dan and Bert.
We're throwing out the radio.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. We're just gonna have to release it.
We're just gonna power through it. Yeah, we're just gonna power through it.
Radio? Who's listening to the radio?
It's only 3 edits. So 4. It's 4 edits so far. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
But that brings me to the conversation of podcasting, and I know I haven't. I plan to listen to the Bert Kreischer podcast later today, but Butler gave me kind of the synopsis synopsis, and you guys were talking about, this is a viable way to make a living now, and it's interesting too because Dan, you've been thriving with your podcast, and you had everything obviously set up for this, and I feel like right now, we've heard that the all these webcams are sold out, and podcasting equipment's hard to get a hold of because everybody's trying to do shows from home, and for the people that are already pre-set up for it, it's kind of like
we are like audio preppers.
We have the you're completely set up to put out entertainment and good quality.
We already had the bunker built. None of you guys believed us. And now the sky's falling, and here we are laughing.
I mean, we've seen it with other terrestrial radio around the country. Everybody's going to at-home studios, and we're frantically trying to set up their at-home studios. And Daniel's right. For those that already audio preppers that had everything set up, it's been a lot easier for us to kind of just continue as we were. So do you feel like this is increased your audience with the you're already set up for putting out
and now you're trapped with your partner in crime. You got your wife there. You guys do a great show. You do your show.
You have everything you need.
You have everything you need, right?
No, we're so fortunate where because of our subscribers and stuff, and that was a model we talked about, with you, that I talked about with you guys, years ago, was adding a subscription service, and that saved us in this time where we can keep our employees paid and keep putting out content and focus actually more on podcasting right now, where some of my comic friends are trying to kind of navigate into Zoom shows. I did one for charity, and that was it for me. It's I only did it because it was a cause, but it's okay. For me, I'm I'll resume stand-up and thinking about stand-up when touring can start again in earnest. I'm not going to do some half version of stand-up for me anymore. And so what I've done is just shifted all my focus outside of promoting the special to just podcasting. And we're working on another show we've been thinking about for a long time. I originally envisioned a long time ago 3 shows: Time Sucks, Scared to Death, and then this other not just nothing but comedy goofing around show.
Yeah.
And we actually have time because I'm not touring all the time to get that show off the ground, and we have the staff, and I'm so thankful that I have podcasting to keep me busy, give structure to my day, keep money coming in and pay the bills.
I also think it's extremely admirable that you decided to continue paying your staff, because we did not. And in fact, we went one step further, and we've just demanded that they come to work. And
but not pay.
No. We'll see how this thing pans out first.
They're essential volunteers.
Yeah. That's what we tell them.
Well, they're not even really essential. It's just I don't want to do all the work myself.
But it's been nice to reach new people, during this, and have something, an outlet that, that the pandemic doesn't affect like it does, obviously, live shows.
Well, you're in a different area too. I mean, being that you're in Idaho, and the fact that I would imagine, in my mind, in my imagination, I'm creating that you're not all up on top of each other, that there's a lot of land out there. And do you feel like it's completely different there? And then when you see images on the news or stuff like that, that it's night and day compared to where you're at right now in your state?
Well, we got rid of it. We have a lot more guns here, and we killed it. We shot the virus out.
That's what I heard. I heard. Blew some holes right in it. Swiss cheese.
But it is different. I mean, actually, it's funny. I was doing some radio call-ins for the special last week, and one of the call-ins was a New York radio station, and they got kind of mad at me for my response to the shelter in place, because I was saying, I'm things are kind of opening up here, and I'm glad, it's we got to get the economy going. We got to keep going. And they were like, whoa, but it's still crazy. And I'm like, for you, it's crazy.
Right.
But we don't live in New York. We don't live in New York. I understand in New York City. I have friends in New York City. It's terrible there because it's an urban living, environment where people are, stacked on top of each other, and a communicable disease is going to spread very differently there. I mean, in Idaho, it's we are kind of, especially northern Idaho, more loners, more kind of antisocial by nature.
Yeah.
Don't gather in large groups for the most part around here just in normal life. And things other than, some of the restaurants obviously are closed, but the rest of them, their pickup services have been doing pretty well. Instead of going out to eat, people just go grab stuff and go home. And, life other than that is, school's not in, which has, been different, obviously. But in a lot of ways, it's kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean, we've felt the same thing. Like in Central Florida, where there's not been that many cases, and it's we're not in a gigantic city. We felt the same way, and that's kind of an interesting psychology with this whole thing, where people are kind of treating this this gigantic nation of ours as of. Like if everything was the same variable, which is not. Like everybody
I don't think you can do that. Yeah.
Everybody lives in different scenarios. Every city is different as far as population goes and how spread out. So so it's kind of odd. We're watching like a national news and we're listening to people say one stipulation that kind of covers everybody, but everybody lives in different variables and there's like different situations. But and no one's taking that into account. Like it's like, oh, this set of circumstances applies to everybody.
Well,
but
the other thing that I've noticed, and Dan, tell me if you've noticed this. The other thing that I've noticed, and I know you probably have to be plugged in because obviously you want people to watch your special, which I would urge everybody to do right now.
Yeah.
Go and find it. And super easy. Just type his name in. It pops right up. Actually, a Buick dealer or something pops up.
Oh, yes.
Sorry about that.
Actually, you gotta go to dancummins.tv.
Go right under it, and because you don't want a car, you want a comedy special. But
I watched it last night real quick, and this is what I found. If you search Dan Cummins on Amazon Prime, I watched it on Amazon, your first special comes up. If you search Get Out of Here Devil, then the new special comes up. Obviously, there's one on there from 2017, but you want the 2020 Get Out of Here Devil.
Really good.
Yeah,
and here's an easy thing to do. Just type in Get Out Devil, and it's the first thing that does pop up.
Yeah.
That is a fact. I did both, so I would be knowledgeable. But have you found that most people on Facebook are doctors now, Dan?
Oh yeah. Yes, on social. I mean, and I have to fight from trying to spread things too. But but there is. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, you know what annoys me, I guess, on social media is we were talking about this in the office yesterday. Is very few people seem to look at the total picture. It's like if somebody is economy minded, then they're just like, okay, we got to open up everything right now. We got to open up. We got to save the economy. There's that argument. And then if somebody from the medical field, they're like, oh, we got to keep things sheltered. We can't let the hospitals get flooded and that. But very few people are just like, hey. There's the medical aspect, there's the economic aspect, and kind of looking at it in a broader view.
Yeah.
And I've been so annoyed that, in the media that happens where you have health experts saying, hey, we got to have everything shut down until 2021. And then, and then you have economists saying we got to open up everything right now. And it's like, no, you need to get together and talk to each other and figure out a reasonable plan. There's a compromise between the two because we can't shelter in place forever.
No.
That's nonsense. And you also, there's an argument where you can't just necessarily open everything fully back up in every single city right away. So I just wish people would be more reasonable in the media and just, on socials and everything.
Well, it turns out that everybody likes the extremes of one or the other.
Yeah.
Nobody likes logical middle ground, which...
And I think Facebook is the new equivalent to, Facebook to me and having a differing opinion, and then just telling everyone on your feed to go F themselves is the new equivalent of the drunk dad coming home from work after the boss yelled at him and kicking the dog. You know what I mean? It's the digital dog kicking, if you will.
I see it a lot with celebrities. I got so annoyed early on. I've been a huge, especially watching TV, movies and stuff in the 80s as a kid and all the action movies. I became a huge Schwarzenegger fan.
Yeah.
And, Commando and Predator.
We were just talking about that yesterday.
Oh, dude, there's so many good ones. And the bodybuilding. I mean, I've always thought Schwarzenegger is funny and just liked a lot of different things, he's done career-wise. And then he was early on just beating this drum of basically stay in your house until all the experts tell you different. And if you're not doing that, you're an idiot. And it's not that bad, and it's easy to stay in your home. As he's sitting in this hot tub in this palatial mansion with millions in royalties, and I'm like, yeah, tell that to the waitress, who is worried about paying rent, you dick.
Meanwhile, he's smoking a cigar that's worth more than what she makes in a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of celebrities, like I don't want to name a bunch of names, but it's like other names. But I mean, a lot of even like bigger comics and stuff, especially New York based, have been saying that kind of same message and looking at people in other states and be like, oh, you're such an idiot for going outside. And it's like, well, A, you don't live in those other states, so you actually don't know what you're talking about. And B, it's like when you're rich and you can just stay in your house for a year and have it, and still be rich at the end of that year,
right.
you can approach this in a very different way than somebody who had 2 weeks worth of savings in their bank account.
Yeah, still be rich is the key there. Absolutely.
Also, it helps when you got a swimming pool and a tennis court for things you need to do.
Killing time.
Yeah. It's when you live on a private lake and you can ride your jet skis around. Listen, I even know it's not that bad to stay in my house. Like I have a swimming pool, I have a yard for the kids to play in.
You got a boat.
Yeah, I got a hot tub, I got a boat. Like
you got a red room of pain.
If I live
over humble bragging, Dan.
well, no, but if
that's the only reason he wanted to talk to Dan Cummins is so he can give him the rundown of his house.
But guess what? I don't go on social media and be like, "Stay at home, you idiots, you fools." Well, I sit in my hot tub and why would I say that? Like everybody, listen, I'm doing my thing. Everybody's doing their thing. But for you to be judgmental on people, you're right. If you live in a studio apartment and you have 200 square foot of living space, you want to get the hell out of there. It's a lot different.
Well, you should have worked harder before the virus.
You live in a 5,000 square foot house. Easier to stay inside.
Not my fault.
Anyway, so Dan, I wanted to ask you about this because from watching your special, you do something a lot in your special that I often think about if I'm going to do in the future, and I'll explain. Anyway, you talk a lot about your kids and your kids are older, so they are, I imagine, are fully aware that you talk about them in your special, correct?
No, they're both super dumb, and they don't get it.
Well,
they do. They get it, yeah.
Because I talk about my sons all the time, and I have throughout their whole lives on the show.
Yeah.
And I often think to myself, I'm like, I wonder if the dynamic is going to be different once they're aware, once they're
they're funnier than you, so when their specials come out, they'll be talking about you.
And I'm like, I wonder if me mentioning things about them or integrating their lives into content is gonna. I wonder what they're gonna think about that. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like, is that something that you had a conversation with them about, or?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like a real press junket, and not just us talking with a friend.
It is. I actually. Because as they got older, and it started, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. When they were real little, I would just do kind of whatever jokes.
Yeah.
And then once they got, once Kyler got, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 years old or something like that, I did start to think more about okay, now there's certain things soon his friends are going to hear them. I don't want them to tease him, at a certain age level. So I do a thing now where they have veto power. Like all the crazy things I told them or talked about on the special about them, there were other things that I worked out, over a few shows live. And then I would be like, hey, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? And there was definitely several stories that got shot down in the sense that it would have been just too embarrassing for them. And there's a lot of stories. My daughter tends to shoot more down or is more worried. And there's a lot of stories where I'm just filing away. And then, when she's 20, it's okay, now I get to unload all the stories about her between the ages of 9 and 15.
Yeah, you're doing it like the Michael Jordan documentary. You're holding on to these things, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to keep coming back to her every year like a parole hearing, and you're going to be like, all right, where are we at with I don't know, poop in your pants in gym class? And not okay. Well, I'll see you in a year. I think that's a great idea, dude.
Like how he threw the Bulls under the bus for doing coke and having hookers in the room. I'm going to wait on those stories for a while. Exactly.
Yeah, until you get full permission.
Right.
Also, Dan, I wanted to ask you about.
Is that Paisley on the cover with you?
Oh, yeah, that is.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe's actually just right in the other room right now.
Okay, give him some love, because I thought he makes a really good devil. He looks good.
Yeah, that was fun. There was a photographer in the same building as our studio's in, so it was the easiest photo shoot ever. We just walked down the hall.
Your production values are just so good, dude. So good.
Oh, nice. I'll tell him, too, yeah.
So on your special, I also noticed too, like when you first came out, you made some podcast references that were obviously everybody in the crowd were fans of. I imagine that there was a lot of people in the crowd that listen to Time Suck, listen to your podcast, and so with that, is the dynamic changing at all? During your live shows, or at least obviously none now, but what you noticed in the past couple of years, where you're now talking to only your audience, like in your hardcores and stuff, and does that make it easier for you because you know that these are your listeners? I've always wanted that.
So you're saying so you get less of the I'm just going to the club because I love stand up. I've heard of this guy but never seen him live. I'm interested to see what he's about. But now he's getting I am a space lizard. I listen to him every day. I'm coming there to see my hero. The difference in the crowd dynamic?
Yeah. Because
interesting.
Just to give you an example, because me and Daniel have only done live shows for, let's be honest, for BDM. So we've never gone and done a live show for an audience that doesn't know us. Like, it's our audience.
I have a feeling it would end up like a Borat scenario where a bunch of rednecks are hitting us over the head with beer bottles or trying to run us out of a bar.
We're not stand-ups. We don't have an act that's universally funny like you do, so it's like we only can broadcast to our BDMs basically, and they know us, and it's easier for us. But for you who've been doing stand-up for so long and stuff, you can go up and do your act, your stand-up in front of total strangers, and they will think it's funny because the jokes are funny. But doing it in front of your hardcores, I mean, someone was dressed like a lizard in the special, which got cut
awesome.
And so. Is the dynamic change for you at all? Like, because I find it pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like, I did so many other albums where all the material was built in front of audiences that had no idea who I was. And so you have to structure things differently, and you have to win each audience over, with your first 5-10 minutes because, they have no idea who you are and they're maybe a little more reluctant to kind of go along with you. And then this last hour, this Get Out of Here Devil, was the first special that was built from start to finish in front of crowds that, primarily, especially towards the end and for the taping, were pretty familiar with what I do. And it's just a different comfort level. It does make it easier. And I feel like I could kind of push things further. And I don't know, not that I would hold back on previous ones, but there was definitely... I didn't have to worry about necessarily offending people the same way as I had in the past. And it was pretty funny building this material. Like, one of the more outlandish stories I've told on stage, the banana peel bathroom thing I told on this one. That was one story where I could tell, because sometimes people will bring their friends that, weren't familiar with you, and you do still get some randoms. And the randoms were so easy to spot in that story, where it's like the diehard fans loved it. And then every show, there would be at least a few people in the crowd that were like, why are people laughing at this? Like, this is this is disgusting. Like, this is disturbing. What is happening here? But that made it really, it definitely was more fun for me this last tour. Just really being able to just not worry about offending anyone. Because previously, I would always do what I would want to do, but I'd be nervous every week at a comedy club because... if you only make 20% of the people at a random comedy club laugh, you're not going to come back.
So
you're always feeling torn between, like, you want to stay true to what you do artistically, but you also, if you don't do a good enough job, you're not going to come back. Where now I'm able to go to shows and I truly don't give a about random people walking in. Like, I don't care if they're offended. I don't care if they hate it. If they like it, great. But if they hate it, I don't care because I have enough people who do like it coming in, and it makes the shows way more relaxed and fun.
So, Dan, this kind of leads me to my next theory that I've been thinking about, and I want to get your opinion on it because it has to do with stand-up and it has to do with this new age of entertainment and how audiences are. And it has to do with Louis C.K. So we're going to tread kind of lightly because we realized, me and Daniel had this conversation that, you're not going to change some people's minds about Louis C.K. Some people will hate him until the day he dies and never support anything he does.
It's kind of like politics. It's very presidential in that regard.
It's very polarizing. And so, but we're not going to talk anything about that. But what I found interesting is, so Louis C.K. came out with a new stand-up special and he's
we're not here to talk about that that, Tom.
No, well,
We're here to talk about Dan Cummins. How dare you? Jesus
Wow.
Christ. I'm so sorry.
Well, I watched it, and what I found most interesting. Did you happen to see it, Dan?
No, I haven't seen it yet. But I think he's a brilliant comic mind.
Yeah, and so what I found interesting is he goes way over the top to the point where it seems like in his mind he's like, well, everybody, the people that hate me and will never come back. And
Right.
and I am now just doing, my stand-up is going to be whatever I want, is going to push the limits so far because my career has essentially been ruined, and stand-up is what is going to, stand-up is probably going to be the way he makes money forever now. I imagine that studios and a lot of, big commercial media will stay away from him.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And so he'll just self-distribute his own things, and he went to he does some bits that are I was like, whoa, he stopped caring, the audience,
but he
liked
knows
it.
he's got his guys.
Yeah, and it seems like he's just doing he's saying whatever he wants, and his particular audience and the audience that still wants to watch him do stand-up doesn't care, and that told me, I was like, man, it seems like we are moving closer and closer to a world where people have their audience and people do stuff to just their audience, and that's it, and you can make a living doing that, and no longer do you have to care about what big networks think or studios, and unless you want to go that route because they still have money to pay people, but you can now live independently from the system because you could distribute yourself. I mean, Louis C.K. started a long time ago doing it, but now more than ever it seems like you can self-distribute and not care what anybody thinks or what anybody gets offended by because it doesn't matter anymore.
Absolutely. First off, I do want to apologize. Just when you brought up CK, it made me feel a little awkward. I've been this entire time.
I saw it looked like you were stirring something.
I just thought that was the internet, or I thought you were making some of Lindsay's world famous buttermilk. I didn't know what was happening there. I just and I did think I saw Joe peek in the frame just a little bit.
No, but with what you're saying, I mean, I think it's so beautiful where people can just only worry about their audience and not care about anyone else. Where like when I got into comedy, I've always been more of a music guy. I've always listened to a lot more music than I have comedy.
Me too. Yeah.
And the artists I've liked have tend to have been a lot of more independent leaning artists. People without big #1 Billboard records and things, but people who I like a lot more than the people who do tend to sell more records.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. It's when you get kind of niche, I think it becomes more pure. You're getting an unfiltered artistic perspective. You're not getting somebody trying to kind of compromise and appeal to a broader audience. I think and a lot of my favorite comics have been like that. Doug Stanhope has been one of my favorite comics since I started stand-up.
He's fantastic.
And he's always been that. He's always just been who he is and not cared if who it offended. And he's so good at his craft that he always has enough of an audience to keep doing what he's doing. And it's brilliant to me. And I always man, that's the kind of stuff I would like to do. And I love now that we live in a time where it's easier to do that. You don't need millions. If you have thousands of fans, if you're lucky enough to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of fans, you can make a great living and you don't have to compromise at all. And the business model has changed so much where, it's funny. I went from trying to get, producers to give me meetings and trying to get on a TV show when I was down in LA. To the last couple of years, I've shifted focus. I mean, that just never worked out for me. If it would have, I guess I would have went on a different trajectory. But now we have producers hit us up, and I'm not saying this in some I'm big time, because I'm not, but I do blow them off now because the way a network would pay, I would have to not be in Idaho. I would have to be away from my family more.
Yeah,
I would have to compromise. I would have to have a lot more network feedback. I might have a bigger audience reach, but that doesn't mean they would like me necessarily. And I wouldn't get paid that much because it would be a different pay scale. I know comics and actors in LA who have huge resumes. They are on all kinds of stuff. They're second tier on a sitcom, sometimes the lead on a sitcom, or they have hosted numerous shows, reality shows on cable for years. And if they were to do a podcast, maybe they'd have, I don't know, 500 listeners. Like, even though they have all that exposure, nobody really cares about them because you get such a watered down version of them on these shows. And I love now that you can just do your own thing, totally commit to what you want to do, and have that be enough. And you don't need, it's not a stepping stone anymore.
Yeah.
It's like when I think about building up Time Suck and building up Bad Magic Productions, what we're doing here, it's so exciting to me because I've always loved entrepreneurs, small business owners, and there is no goal after that. It's not like, oh, I want to do this so then I can get in movies. I personally don't give a about that. It's like, I just want to do this to keep doing this, and I love it.
Yeah, and that, I don't know. Like, I'm going to listen to it today, but I know you were talking to Bert Kreischer about you don't need gigantic audiences anymore, and like the notion of you need millions of followers or you need hundreds of thousands of our audience isn't that big. Me and Daniel and
we have like a solid 32, 35 people that just settle in every Friday and get their laugh on.
And honestly, we are doing fine and doing better than we would have if we were like the hosts of some terrestrial show on the radio.
There's so much more uncertainty in that job as well because you're not pulling any of the strings.
You can get fired at any time. You're not in control of your own destiny. But also, even if you want to look at just base pay, this still happens where people will come to us and be like, well, if someone offered you a morning radio show, you guys would take it, right? Of course, like that. And I'm like, we're like, no, why would we do that? Like, we get up at 4:30 in the morning, and by the way, we would make less money. Like, you don't understand how this works. That's the reality of the situation. 100%. We would make less money. We would not be in control of our product. We'd actually have to dumb down our product and not do what we want. We'd be controlled by sales and by corporations.
It's less of a dumb down and more of a we curse.
Yeah,
We're pretty dumb.
Well, but people almost don't believe us when we tell them that, and we're here to it's true. And Dan, what you're saying, if you work for some network TV show, you would be controlled. You wouldn't. You would probably make less. And then again, it's the way the world works.
To go back to Dan's special and to go back to Bad Magic and what he's put together with his team and his wife, if you look at the production quality of what they're putting out, because they have the time and because electronics are really not that crazy expensive anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the production values that he's pumping out are probably better than he would get if he went somewhere else and had them do it because they're having to do it for everybody. He's the only client.
It's like craft beer.
I love it.
You could use better ingredients.
Beer,
Yeah, I mean, you're able to use better ingredients in your production than a mainstream media corporation would. Because
better ingredients, better podcast. Now we all we all have a meeting, and then I'll just start yelling the N-word on the line. And then
Shaq will come in.
And then Shaq will come in. And then what do? I go red-faced sweaty onto every podcast I can, and I tell everybody I ate 80 pizzas in 2 days. That guy's the worst human being alive. Oh, Papa John, F you. You're the worst.
Sorry to go into podcasting. Everybody's tired. They're like, we know you idiot.
We get it. You podcast.
This is just what Dan and Bert said, and you're just saying it worse.
No, but it is exciting. It is exciting, and it is interesting how a lot of people, it's not their world and they don't understand it necessarily. But it is funny. There's that mentality that, and I've had to work to get it out of my head, where people will be like, "Oh man, you're doing well," and they'll kind of jump, and especially in stand-up, they're like, "Oh, I hope you get a sitcom," or "I hope you get this." And because they don't understand that not everybody wants that,
right?
And that you actually might make a lot less money doing that. I feel like people always think you're lying.
Well, we get
it rationalized. It's like, no, I don't need that big TV show. I'd rather go to my weird office building and sit in front of my laptop because that's where the real money is. Like, you sound like a lunatic.
Yeah. We get weirder ones because we're still on radio with ACT.
Yeah.
And because we do the podcast, it's very difficult to get people to understand that the podcast and the BDMs are subscribers, and the shows that we do for them, in our eyes, are infinitely more important than the radio show. And people will actually still tell me to this day, to my face, I'll have it happen this week at some point. Somebody will tell me, "Oh man, hey, you're going to get back on radio." you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Or you'll have to go back to radio. I've heard that from people.
You've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like what? Like this is 2020. It's pandemic. There's no. That's it.
We're here.
Yeah. This is it. This is what we want to do. By the way, and like Dan said, like people, you can't get through your mind. Like, wait a minute. Like it's the giant production companies. It's the giant corporations. That's where the money's at. And like, man, things are shifting where your audience will support you just fine. And then, by the way, not only support you, but there's who knows how long it could your entire career. Like you don't have to constantly worry about getting fired or like.
And just to circle back to what Dan was originally saying, if you take one of Dan Cummins, like just a post, let's say it's a post of him and his boy in all gold costumes, gold fedoras, and they're, that was the funniest thing I've seen. Okay, let's take that clip. And then let's take a clip for any news station here in Orlando or radio station here in Orlando, and they come out on Instagram at exactly the same time, and look at Dan's clip and look at his listener base just eat it alive and participate, and look at how active and engaged they are, and then look at the other media outlet, and there's nothing there. There's no engagement level. There's zero engagement. In fact, there are radio stations and people that post things, and I'll see not even one like. That's how much we've tuned it out.
Yeah,
because there's nothing unique about it.
Yeah, there's so much noise, and now it is the age of the content creator, and it's the age of people really like doing their own thing, and I think it's just going to get more and more that way. As we were talking about this, I was just thinking about like what an interesting time it is where, and I don't have the numbers to totally prove this, but I would bet that last year Joe Rogan as a podcaster made more money than any A-list movie star off of their movies.
Yeah.
Almost anyone. Maybe there's some back-end deals with like Guardians of the Galaxy or something where they got some cut of the profits. But I mean, I don't know. There's rumors that he makes, as the most, listened to podcaster in the world, basically.
Yeah.
That he makes, somewhere around $100 million a year.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I mean,
when you got money to
have your own private doctor give coronavirus tests to all your guests right before you interview them to find out.
I can't even afford an effing bug man. Like my house has roach and rat infestation.
But Dan, look how fast. Like I know this. It's still years, but I remember when Joe Rogan only had Fleshlight. Like Fleshlight was the only company that would advertise with him. I mean, this wasn't that. What are we talking? 10 years or less than 10 years?
Less than 10.
And so it's crazy how fast it progressed, and now to the point.
It's crazy how much better the Fleshlight is too. It's really good now.
And there's no going back now. It's like once companies realize that they can get in front of a way more engaged audience advertising through Rogan, that's where they're going towards. And I think they're pulling their money from the traditional media. I mean, I can't imagine there's companies like, you know what, we should do more TV commercials. Like, who's doing that? Like, how could that be? It's dead.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, not totally dead, but there's obviously sports and stuff, and TV commercials will still be a thing, but it can't be as much of a thing.
No, there isn't sports and stuff.
Well, not now, but
yeah, ESPN is the weirdest. It's been my palate cleanser, my mental palate cleanser for my entire adult life. It's like I'm working on something, and then I go over to ESPN.com. I check out sports stories. I don't even really care about most of them, but I'm just curious what's going on in the sports world. And I do like numbers where I'm like, what? So-and-so had this many touchdowns. Oh, my God. Or, oh, what? So-and-so hit 3 home runs and had 7 RBI. That's amazing. It is the weirdest website now where they will milk nothing's happening. So it's like there was just, some guy, I don't know, might have gotten like a third tier player was maybe going to get traded to a team, and then they ran that as one of the lead stories for like 5 days in a row. It's like it's got to be such a weird thing to write for ESPN right now.
Oh yeah,
I turned it on, and this isn't. I'm not even making a joke here. I turned it on. I had to write it in my phone because I didn't think you guys would believe me. I turned on one of the ESPNs, and they were running the 2003 Child Spelling Bee.
yeah.
And
desperate.
I was like, oh my God. But I sat and watched it because nothing else is on, but it was just really odd to me that they like had what did they have to get a guy to go get the tapes in a room of spelling bee tapes?
They've been brainstorming like weird stuff, like what if we started a yo-yo league, yo-yo championships?
Yeah,
and then have a guy yo-yo in his room for an hour, and then another guy yo-yos in his room. They're just desperate for what can we do now?
It's odd.
Oh, you got an army of writers too that have nothing to write about, so they're coming up with anything. They're just pulling any possible story. I mean, their life was saved by the Jordan documentary because that provided a bunch of. But when that's about to be over, they're going to be in trouble for.
But I think we can all agree that the main good thing to come out of all of this is Jimmy Fallon and the Roots are playing kids' instruments and singing silly songs.
They've always done that.
Then that's awesome. I thought that COVID would actually stop that. I was kind of looking forward to it. But didn't happen.
So, Dan, thanks so much for, Skyping with us today.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Go watch that special.
Yeah, Get Out of Here, Devil. I watched it last night. Loved it. And, of course, Time Suck, Scared to Death as well. Got any, I know you mentioned some other podcasts that you have planned. Anything?
Is that the one you told me about that I'm not supposed to talk about?
I'm sure it is.
I know,
we don't know when we're going to launch it yet.
I'm excited for it, dude. It's going to be awesome.
We've done some tech runs, and at least we were laughing a bunch. But it's just around. Yeah, it's me and Joe Paisley, and we'll launch it here soon. It's just a fun free for all. We're just have a bunch of weird segments, just really goofy, all around people just doing and saying dumb stuff on the internet, and. So it's the first non-narrative one. We're Scared to Death of stories, Time Suck of stories. This one is just riffing off of the weird and horrible things people do online.
I love it.
And we're excited for it.
Cool, awesome. Man. Well, give the family some love from us, man. Give Lindsay some love from us, Joe, and your whole team, and all the people that we know. And hopefully we'll get to talk to you again super duper soon.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys before too much longer. And
that's never going to happen again. That's over.
You'll never see us again. No. Dan. This will be the last time.
Yeah, I mean, human contact. That's all gone. It's all gone.
No, I love that you guys are doing great, man. I'm still huge fan. Always will be, and it's just it's awesome to see you guys just continue to. Just push forward and find innovative new ways to create content and keep building your audience. It's super cool.
Well, thank you, dude. Man. You're always too kind to us, man, and we cherish and value your friendship. So stay safe, but we know you are, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, Dan. Later. That is our good friend. We love him, Dan Cummins, live via Skype. And go get that Get Out of Here, Devil.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
On iTunes and Amazon right now.
I wonder damn it, I forgot to ask him, what benefits you more? Like buying or renting? Does it matter? Streaming? What?
I rented it on Amazon. I think you could rent it from iTunes too.
Well, it's Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and Xfinity On Demand.
Oh, Apple TV.
It's like the same questions that people ask us. Do I hit play? Do I download? Just do it all. I'm just do it all.
Yeah.
Did you hear me almost throw up there? Yeah, I almost threw up there.
I think if you rent it, that definitely he'll get kickback from that or any service, I think.
Yes, sir. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, we're out of here.
That's it for us. TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. Buy some merch. That helps out our merch guy. If you're not a BDM, sign up. If you are a BDM and you can lift your level maybe one notch, we'd appreciate that. YouTube, search Tom and Dan Live for replays of this show, of every show we put out, and always on Twitch. If you ever want to catch us live, check out the new Fish Cam, hear some of the lunchtime tunes we've been playing, because we basically broadcast the entire day. You can always search Twitch. Again, Tom and Dan Live. Everything is Tom and Dan Live.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here. Are you wearing the same hoodie that I'm wearing? No. You got
I got the
BDM.
I like to do the hoodie checkup. Go to TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. You could really help us out because we had a lot of huge plans for this year. of sending our merch manager, Eric, out to all these cool, like, little festivals and, like, Baldwin's First Friday and all these, like, cool little niche outdoor
Food truck fest in
festival
Sanford.
little things. Yeah, and as you all know, that has all been shut down. So if you buy a piece of merch from us, you're not only helping us. Normally, we just break even, but you're putting a little bit of money in his pocket, and he's a great dude. So you can help him out.
Yep. So this morning, I always swipe left on my phone, and then there's
You on Tinder?
Yeah,
bunch
what are you
of-
doing? That's not a good thing to do. Are you laying in
Don't
bed
admit
with?
that.
Are you laying in bed with your wife while you're doing that?
My God, sir.
Raise your hand if you looked at porn on your phone with your wife in the bed.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Is she awake or asleep?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate. If she's awake, I just angle my phone.
Yeah.
But I think she can see the glare of tease in my eyes.
What's the point of that?
You
If you're
It's-
not,
it-
if you're not actually doing it.
No, it gets me like I get to a point where I'm like I have two. Okay, I should. I know you had something
Yeah,
you wanted to talk
no,
about.
no.
Okay, but we'll just go in this direction. Fine, F it. We'll do it live. Then I'm watching the porn on the phone. She's laying next to me, and then I'm looking, and then I get to a point where I only have two choices. And one choice is to get up, go to the bathroom, and pretend to poop, or put my phone down and try to wake her up and, and do the real deal. And,
Okay. Is
it's
that what you do as well, Tom?
It's a choose your own adventure.
I never try to wake her up. As a
It's like waking a dragon sleeping on gold.
So you walk to the bathroom then?
Yeah. Or there in the bed.
Oh,
No.
She's-
Really?
how do you do that?
She sleeps
How
like.
do you do that?
That's you know what you're the
Slow
real
and
you're the real
silent.
MVP. If you can do that,
Yeah,
I
oh,
swear
yeah.
to God, you're the real MVP.
Well, yeah. Also,
You're the boss. If you can do that, you are officially the boss of this
How
company.
slow
'cause
are you going? I mean, there's got to be movement in
what
the
are you
bed.
doing? What are you?
Well-
it's not like you're waxing a barber pole.
let's just say at the end of the night, the old lady's sleeping heavy.
Oh, I know what you mean.
She's had a few. And,
it's like when you try to get the pirate drunk.
Yeah.
He passes out and you try to steal the rubies.
Yeah, you could take his gold necklace off. He can't even.
Ah.
Be quiet, and then you
Yeah.
go behind her. You grab the ruby out of his hand,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
that damn parrot is like, "He's stealing the rubies!
Yeah.
He's stealing the rubies!" Does anybody
Stupid
know what I'm
parrot.
talking about?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
see
yeah,
my
yeah.
imagination?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the parrot, and then usually
And then he starts waking up, and then you're running through the ship, and you don't know where you're going.
you put a big silver dome on top of the serving tray over the parrot. That's it.
Yeah.
You, by the way,
And then you hit it with a stick, and it goes boom.
has anybody here ever in their real life either seen in real life or taken off a big silver dome from a turkey or from like a entree of a dinner? or whatever?
Cruise ship.
No, I have not.
No,
I don't think I have.
In like a regular,
Like one
house.
that you lift.
Yeah,
no,
like-
never seen
and
that.
their steam comes out of the
No,
turkey.
it is a joke. No.
Yeah,
No.
I've seen it in
That's a-
cartoons, and
They don't do that anymore.
And I've never seen it in real life.
I think culturally we don't do that
Maybe
anymore.
we're just not going to fancy places.
in fancy.
Wait, us? Well, we're not fancy people. I mean, I think we're all, everyone here.
I mean,
maybe
It's got to
minus.
exist somewhere.
Okay,
I've been to millionaires' dinners before, multiple, and
Yeah.
never seen them do that.
There's
I
only
mean,
one
Phil
person.
Rollins.
There's only one person refined enough to see one of those, and believe it or not, that would be Butler. The three of us are just certified swamp folk.
So, Dan Paul in the chat, room service.
Ah.
That is true. Not quite the same, but there is the little lid on it
There
that you
is-
lift off.
Yeah.
No, not
That's
that.
the closest thing
but it's
I've ever
silver.
gotten.
Hold on a second,
Yeah.
Dan Paul.
Yeah.
You get points for, getting close.
That is true.
But you put your finger in it and you lift it up. That's not what I'm talking about. I want a decorative, ornate handle.
Yeah.
And it comes off, and it's got to be shaped like a dome.
And I want it at not a commercial facility like a hotel or something like
Or a cruise,
or
yeah.
cruise or like a fancy restaurant. I'm talking about like at home because I've seen in cartoons and in movies as when I was a kid that they did that at home. Now, albeit in a fancy mansion type of deal, but I've never seen anybody do it. And I've been to fancy people's houses and they don't do it.
But you know what I don't like? There's two versions of what Dan Paul in our Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. There's two versions of what he's talking about. There's the silver one for room service where you put your finger through it and you lift it off, and then there's your eggs and bacon or, I don't know, chicken fingers. Then there's the hospital one that's just see-through plastic, and you take that off.
Yeah.
When I see that, I
No,
think,
that's-
okay,
yeah.
there's two.
It's
When I
even
see
worse.
one, I think room service. When I look at the other one, the plastic one, I think AIDS.
Apparently, it's called a cloche.
Really?
Yeah.
Cloche?
So there you go, Paul.
And
Dan
Juan,
Paul.
Juan says it's just to keep the food warm.
Dan
which
Paul,
I
you were
think we all knew that, but we've never seen it, right?
Cloche, but no cigar.
Okay, here's if we're speaking hotels, because we all haven't been in a hotel in a while, at least a couple
I don't think they're
months.
coming back. I think that's done.
So,
Tear them down.
is there anything better than eating room service on your bed
No.
in
And
a
you-
cold ass hotel?
And you
that's
leave crumbs
freezing?
everywhere.
You don't
Best.
care.
Yeah, and you leave mustard packets, tiny little ketchup, you
And-
just everything left. Wet towel on the ground.
For whatever reason, at hotels, I watch garbage TV, like
Oh, yeah.
whatever's on.
You
like,
and I did. We watched Treehouse Masters.
Yeah, yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
We had the flu. We had
you're
flu.
right.
We did
In
room
Philadelphia.
service in Philadelphia. We did room service and 9 hours of Treehouse Masters. Both had flu.
By the way, talk about a different time. We both had the flu, travel around freely.
Oh, coughing on every plane. Yeah.
At an MLS convention, the Super
We
Draft.
infected everybody.
We're
I was
just
coughing.
walking around the city.
I was
flu.
coughing on Lionel Messi's shoes. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But this is like
Hi, Don Garber, MLS.
different,
Coughing on him.
different time.
It was a
You just
different time.
openly walk around with the flu, and you're like, God, I got the flu. As you cough on everything.
Yeah, like we were laying on top of each other in a plane, sleeping with fevers.
By the way, back then, still hanging out with my pop-up at 90 years old, kidney failure.
Yeah, it's fine.
No mask, nothing.
I mean, not even 6 months ago, I thought I had the flu or something, and I'm tongue kissing my mom. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it was a different time.
Your toes are weird. Cat no sense of smell.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
You know what's funny is that I read that, and I'm immune to it. Normally, I would read that, and I'd go,
Yeah,
and start
okay.
looking at my toes. I read it now. I read sense of smell, weird toes. I have weird toes,
Yeah.
and my sense of smell is bad because of allergies, completely unaffected.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's irrational.
Okay, anyway, we're talking.
Can we have a cloche dinner?
we can have a cloche dinner.
Yeah. We wanted.
Where do we get a cloche?
Restaurant supply store?
Are those open right now?
No, not essential.
Go order it.
Okay, for this
I
year's
think
Christmas
everything's
dinner, let's have a cloche dinner.
Okay.
Yeah. We got to. Let's do a big private Christmas dinner.
Like,
and-
You're gonna rent out a facility?
And let's get some nude, like
Yeah.
Servers?
men
Yeah.
and women, both, because it wouldn't be fair if we just did nude women. Let's do it like.
let's do a ceremony.
Yeah, you want to do a ceremony?
Yeah, man.
Like a cloak and like really freak out.
Cloak and cloches.
Yes.
Butler's wife.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, I'm saying freak her out.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that.
the last-
Thought she was a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
We freaked out.
we're just gonna pretend, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
We freaked out a little when we did that other company dinner.
Oh, when we did the fake birthday.
yeah.
who'd we do the fake birthday for? You?
You, yeah, Tom.
What the
That
fuck?
was before we had shifted.
Remember we told them it was your birthday? So
at
when you
Manny's Chop House.
Oh, yeah.
That's
and
before
Butler
we
walked in on you signing our Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
In the
before
bathroom?
we. Yeah,
You are a weird human being.
At the urinal again, different time. This guy's at a urinal, didn't even wash his hands. He's signing
Yeah.
your Christmas cards.
Right.
There's pee sprinkles all over.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Good Lord, different time.
Dirty cash inside.
Yeah. It's a lump.
And,
It was like,
correct me if I'm wrong, but
I got you $2 bill, just like a Mimo.
$2 bill with a Santa Claus sticker in the front of it. Come
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
I think that she was the only, Butler's wife was the only person that had dressed up for that, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
I think,
Hawaiian Dracula.
oh, yeah. Tony Palmiotti was dressed like, I want to suck your pineapple. I want to suck your pineapples. I am tropical vamp.
We're just
Blah,
joking,
blah.
Tony.
He doesn't listen
Well,
to
he
this.
slicked his hair back, and I think he got a fresh dye job. And I mean, it was jet black. I was like, "Are you here to sell me a Buick? Or are you here to eat? Are you here to eat the dinner with us?" And then Butler's wife is dressed to the 1000s. I mean, in
She
all
was
white.
the most
She
dressed
looked
up compared to the
gorgeous.
rest of us.
She
I
looked
felt like a
gorgeous.
hunk
For
of
sure.
trash.
I felt like a hunk of trash. I was like, "What do I?" Andrew's like, "What do you wear?" I'm like, it's casual. It's fine. It's man." He's like, "We go there." And Butler's wife looked like she went to Puff Daddy's white party and had just walked past some
Yeah.
penguins on a red carpet.
Or she-
tan.
She's
She
a,
looked good, man.
she's a doctor. For sure, Butler had like, please come to my company dinner. She's like, oh, God.
I don't want to do that.
It's not really a company.
It's at some place that went out of business. You can get a Captain Crunch chicken fingers.
It's just a bunch of idiots.
They're just going to sit there and drink and make D jokes.
An LLC costs you $100 on LegalZoom.
Yeah.
That's what they got.
And she's like, well, who's going to be there? Who's going to be at your company dinner? He's like, well, the little one's going to be there.
Yeah.
The tall one's going to be there.
Yeah,
That's Sam.
yeah,
the tall girl.
The special needs boss.
The special needs pants falls down all the time. He'll be there.
and his wife, who I think is his handler.
Yeah. Wine popcorn will be there, and then Nerd will be there, and she won't do anything, and she'll just giggle, laugh, and won't drink. And then Hawaiian Vampire.
Hawaiian Vampire, yeah. And then,
Come on, I want to suck you.
So
That must have been weird for the people that worked there. That was just a weird table.
it's a mishmash.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
You
know what? Let's do it again.
We look like the worst Expendables. What's your specialty? I don't know. Are you the dynamite guy?
My feet.
My wife's here. Oh, great.
Purple fast.
What are you doing here? Oh, okay, yeah. Cleaning our house. Somebody had COVID in there. They're cleaning it out.
Andrea, you can come hang out with us if you want.
Do you want to be on the show?
I have work.
She has work to do.
Work.
You don't work.
Okay.
What do you do?
Yeah.
What
What exactly is it? Really?
Explain your job, and I'll tell you how easy it'd be for me to do it.
Because we're actually doing real work. Look at it. We're talking.
Look at us. We're talking.
Essential.
We're recanting stories we've already told.
There's like a handful of people. They're typing in there.
Yeah.
And then,
saying things.
Got the fish tank.
You brought up a news story
waves.
to me. I'm going to make a hard left here.
Yeah.
All right.
You brought up a news story to me that I have no knowledge of and don't know what happened, but you said it was probably one of the more bizarre
It was, yeah,
animal encounters that you'd read about in recent times.
So, being that we live in Florida, we're all familiar with alligators, which is an odd thing, I think, for other people that live in other states.
Kind of like a dog, but it's more like a dinosaur dog.
Yeah. Like, where we're so used to them, it's like, there's alligators everywhere. They're in every lake. It's part of our lives. We're not.
I mean, it's possible to see one at least every month.
Some people, I guess, are afraid of them. I'm not, and most of the people I know that grew up in Florida are not. Now we know
they don't want to mess with you.
Yeah, but we know that there's certain things that we shouldn't do. Like, for instance, I don't have an irrational fear of alligators, but if it's dusk, I'm not going to let my sons walk near Lake Jessup. I'm like, we know, but we live in Florida. It's like we know when times
don't put your baloney shoes on and wade through the water.
Like, don't walk your small dog near a lake. Obviously, don't let your kids walk near a lake, especially at dusk and during like those times.
How old do they need to be where it's okay?
Here's the thing. With my sons, it would be forever.
No, I mean, like
now.
us. Like, do we...
I'm not ever afraid. Like, I've swam...
if your sons were like, let's say they're 12 or 13, 14, is it okay now or no?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll still tell them, but I remember when I was a kid, like, we used to go to the Everglades every week, and all the weekends. It was like my dad would go fishing on Sundays, Everglades on Saturdays, right? And I remember as a kid swimming in this, like, basically where they launched their airboats. It was kind of like the boat ramp off Loop Road in the Everglades, and there it was pretty shallow water. It was kind of like a makeshift boat ramp, and there was alligators like in the distance, and like in it's the middle of the Everglades, and me and other rednecks kids were swimming in the water, and then when the alligator get too close, like
you get out.
No, like the dads, drinking, they would leave their airboat and walk over and like throw a rock to scare them away, like be like, like get them away. And then, but we were just swimming in the water. And
I too can remember being in the St. John, swimming on one side of the river, and then having my mom and dad see a gator on the other side of the river. But it was completely okay because it wasn't on the side I was on, and I was able to swim and just be a normal Florida swamp kid.
And then every once in a while, like, there's stories of, I remember, and it's usually, there's only a handful, and because we've done this for so long, usually in the news, and because it's so rare, but like, remember that there was like a teen boy that was swimming in like an offshoot of the St. John's River, and the alligator grabbed him and took his arm, and he was a real man St. John's River kid, and he was able to get to the hospital, and his friends just took him there, but he lost his arm.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I remember that.
down in Miami, there was, like, some car thieves that were in a high-speed chase, and then they pulled over, and right next to the Miccosukee Gambling Casino, which is on the edge of the Everglades, if anybody has ever been down there, and it was trying to swim across the canal at night. And a gator got him and killed him. And so I remember when that happened, I was like, whoa, like it's just rare to happen. And there was a story out of South Carolina, and I found it so bizarre because you never really hear about an adult being grabbed from the shore. And this happened, but it was
For sure, Butler would be one, right? He's throwing sticks at gators. Like,
well, that was a dead
only
one.
dead bloated gators.
Yeah. So this one, and Samantha, you could read the story, but it was bizarre because the lady was acting erratic, they said, and like she wasn't listening to people.
Was she a crazy person?
No, she was a nail salon lady.
She was a manicurist, and she was on a house call because, you know, nail salons are closed right now. So she was at this lady's house doing her nails, and then she went outside and tried to touch the animal, and it grabbed her. After briefly getting away from the alligator, the woman stood in waist-deep water in this pond and said, "I guess I won't do this again," but the alligator grabbed her in its jaws again and took her under. She actually died from drowning. So it took her under and did like the whole death roll
So she got
thing.
away from it once.
Right.
And then said, well, I guess I learned my lesson.
She was waist deep in the water.
Yeah, like she waded out there. She was
Right.
trying to take pictures with this alligator.
And then touch it.
Yeah, like this was bizarre.
Drinking the old wine while she's doing the nails, or
in the story that I was reading, there was reports from other people that she was acting unusual earlier on in the day. So something was happening anyway. Like that's like if you are familiar with alligators, like and there's one like wandering out waist deep and trying to get the closest picture you can with it, especially a big one.
This is a crazy person.
If it was,
says the woman and her husband started screaming to Covert, which is the lady that got attacked, to get away from the gator.
Her last name's Covert?
Covert.
Oh.
Because they saw it grab a deer a few days earlier, to which she replied, "I don't look like a deer," and reached to touch the alligator when the animal attacked.
Well, she's right on the I don't look like a deer part, but unfortunately for her, alligators eat more than just deer.
The husband and a neighbor grabbed a rope and threw it to Covert when she surfaced and stood in the pond. Covert grabbed the rope and said, "I guess I won't do this again," but was suddenly pulled under by the alligator again.
Oh, that's like some Jaws-like stuff.
Yeah. Where you actually...
Can you imagine witnessing that?
Yeah,
we're like,
crazy.
wow,
also, man, I remember, like, even when I was younger, when me and my friends would try to catch alligators and stuff, it's hard. Like, you get near them, they're spooked. Like, it's weird that this one, like, obviously...
She must have been antagonizing it.
Or it was, like, hungry. Travis, I was telling Travis about this story, and it's like, in South Carolina, like, they're just coming out of, like, colder times, and the gators do go in hibernation over the winter.
Yeah. Especially
that far north. So when they are out of hibernation, they need calories fast. This, I mean, it's a starving gator,
famished.
Anyway, you just rarely hear about
First time anyone's ever been killed by a gator in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's rare.
Crazy.
It's and it just struck me as a bizarre story. It's like that is weird.
There's got to be so much more to it, like off medication, alcohol involved, other drugs involved, something, right?
And just random.
Or am I just trying to explain something that could have just been her being not cautious?
Naive or not? Well, also, I mean, I would say it is even hard to get attacked by a gator, even if you wanted to. Like, if you go down to Lake Jessup and there's huge gators in there, I saw.
Man, this is graphic. It says when the deputies and firefighters arrived, the pond was calm, but after 10 or 15 minutes, the woman's body emerged with the alligator still clamped on her leg.
Yeah, then they shot it and they let it go.
You know what? They should not have shot the alligator.
They have to at that point because
they should have shot the lady.
They euthanized.
Well, she's already dead.
Yeah.
Shoot her again.
Do you shoot through the lady to the gator, or like?
No.
I think I'm not. But anytime there's a gator, even a nuisance gator that's just there, they'll euthanize it. I mean, they're not endangered anymore.
Kind of what they got to do, right?
They do. I mean, they do.
Could this be labeled a suicide? Because I mean,
no, because I mean,
I feel like you have to know.
But I'm saying
this is
it's hard, even if you went and antagonized an alligator. I mean, usually 99 out of 100 times it runs from you. It's scared from you.
I'm trying to figure this out. Like,
I don't get it.
I've seen people jump from trees onto the backs of alligators trying to catch them, and they don't turn around and attack. They get the hell out of it.
They hightail out of there. Yeah, I've seen that too.
Like if you walk near the water, usually a gator will like violently get away from you.
Yeah, he like whips his tail. It's almost like to let you know he's there, and he takes off.
Yeah. So to antagonize it enough to bite you must have been just a super rare scenario.
Is it
the fact
possible?
she got that close to even try?
I know.
Yeah.
Usually it would have scared away.
I think it's possible to find. Okay, here's what I think happened. Was this lady from South Carolina? Do we know any of her backstory or how long she'd lived there?
They didn't say that.
Because I do believe it would be possible to have, like, let's say somebody from Europe came over here and just relocated to Florida.
Dude, even two states up, there's no gators up there.
I can see you be so naive and not understand anything about it. And then that's what happens. Just because of pure ignorance, lack of knowledge, you're thinking as if pet. You're thinking as if dog.
Or giant lizard.
Yeah, you're thinking as if giant lizard, and it doesn't work like that.
But usually people that don't know gators are more afraid. But this is the opposite scenario. Also, there could be some mental illness or something that went in there. But
God, that's unfortunate, man. Damn.
Yeah, it was a crazy story, and I was like, whoa, you never see that happen.
I've never heard of that.
And like I said, even if someone gave you $1 million to try to get a gator to attack you, it would be hard. Like, you know, it's not just instant. Like, if you go near a gator, it's going to attack you. It's going to run away from you. And in a scenario, it did that.
Oh, my God.
The alligator lived in that pond for 20 years.
Yeah, it was probably huge, too.
Yeah, they said it was 400 to 500 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Huge gator.
10-foot alligator estimated at 400 to 500 pounds.
And it's also so...
Dude, that's
and she was 5 foot tall, 100 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's a 10-foot gator. You know,
she was 100 pounds. I mean, that looked like a dog to him. You know, I mean, like that's not.
I feel bad for the gator here.
Do you know?
I do too. I feel bad for everybody involved. That's a terrible.
Do you know the old 1 inch
punch
for every 1 inch the gator's head? That's a foot of the body. So it's got a 10-inch head.
Yeah, it's like
that's pretty big.
Yeah, that's fat.
I mean, that's
you're
from
right.
the eyes.
It does say that the friend told deputies that she was behaving strangely and not like her normal self during her visit. So yeah, maybe.
She was off her meds or something.
No, they can all. I mean, I'm sure they'll test that and try to get to the bottom of it. It's really sad.
I mean, yeah, no one deserves this at all, but it's just a bizarre story that
a weird to talk about not the gator part or even the death part. Are you allowed as a nail tech to just do private? Like, can you do that?
Yeah, I mean,
is that where we're going to go with nails? Because like, I really started getting into that. Taking Maisie to get. She likes getting her nails done.
Yeah.
It only took me 42 years to, understand that pedicure for a guy is pretty damn nice on a Saturday. It's relaxing.
Yeah.
I get like 3-4 of them done, and then the world shuts down.
They'll have the salons open
at some point.
Yeah, pretty soon.
I mean, way different.
I heard.
I used to like to take my pants off when I get it
The
done.
governor was meeting with some doctors, I think yesterday, to talk about salons and barbershops.
Whether it be the 15th or the June 1st. We talked to a couple friends that are in that industry, and they think at the latest it'd be June 1st. Or
I gotta get a haircut.
And honestly,
it's freaking me out, man.
Like the people are booked out like crazy, obviously, because when everybody starts up and running again, like these people are going to be booked. Like everybody's been. Not dyeing their hair or cutting their hair for a couple months, and so
what are you going to do with yours?
Go
back to the original, or are you gonna keep letting it grow so you
get
can
a
be
muffalata again?
So you can be one of those like the Funny and Die series, long-haired businessmen. I love a businessman in a suit with long. We used to have a guy at Clear Channel that would come to do those. It was the community relations files that you and I would have to put together.
Yeah.
And he would wear a full suit. His name was Peter.
Hippie businessman. Man.
Yeah, hippie businessman is an interesting. That's an interesting look.
Yeah. My the wizard, he worked for the DC up there.
Yeah.
He's like some environmental scientist. They worked for the government. Hippie businessman.
Yeah, you
and
see
his hair's turning gray too.
He's got long hair.
There used to be an attorney around town here that for the longest time, I think he finally may have cut it, but like he had almost like the guy, what's his comic book man from Simpsons, like a long ponytail.
Yeah.
Like, so you from the front, you'd see him, and it'd be like all business, it'd be like a suit and like a perfectly coiffed hair. But then when he turned around, you'd be like, oh man, that guy likes to party. A little bit of a ponytail back there.
I'm comfortable with letting myself go. I'm like, I like people are like I'm just not cutting my hair, driving me crazy.
I think you
like,
need a ponytail.
Like for me, I'm just like, man, it's fine.
I think you need a ponytail.
That's one step closer to swinging.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
Kramer has a ponytail now and turquoise rings.
if
Well,
I
we know
could
what
just
that means.
grow my hair long on no short, tiny shorts, I'll live like that.
No
I know you
shoes.
would.
No shoes.
So you just come in here
Headband.
kind of like a Tarzan-y style.
Although my feet are taking the brunt
Oh.
of wearing no shoes all the time, and now it's excruciating walking. I think this is a bad
Every step is like 10,000 nightmares.
yeah, like
Okay.
Let's see the bottom of them things.
No.
Yeah.
You know what,
Like
man?
stone.
they're stained.
Okay, I will.
Stained stone.
I will tell you, sir, that yes, I do have the ugliest toe of anyone on the show. But
You
as
have to wash your hands now.
but as a full package, he's over there just like
Massaging his
licking-
own feet.
I can't even feel
running
them.
his fingers through the toe holes.
Are they numb?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're
They're red on top.
Your feet are uglier
Red on
than
top,
mine now.
black on bottom.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That's a snake.
that
means friend of
kill a man.
yeah, wait.
Friend of Jack.
What is it? It's what is your phrase again?
Red on top, black on bottom.
Wash my feet. No, sir, I got them.
What's on the side of your foot? Those
What?
blisters? Do you have
Ew.
Do you have a sunburn on the top of
I
your
think
feet?
you've got COVID
Yeah,
toes.
Or do you have a rash?
How's your sense of smell right now?
It's red.
Because your left ankle's red as hell too.
Yeah.
What is going? You have.
That-
There's something wrong with your feet.
Dude,
No,
you're-
that was him sitting on him. I was sitting
Hey,
on
your
him.
feet are
I don't
uglier
know.
than mine now. I have the bad toe, and for a while I had the championship. Like I was the winner of ugliest feet.
Yeah.
But you win now because as a package deal, I still have the ugliest toe.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know. How's your big toe? Did the nail grow back?
No,
It's kinda there.
It stopped halfway, and
It
then
did
never,
stop
Yeah,
halfway.
it
It's
grew
like a-
fast halfway,
gave up.
and then gave up.
Yeah, like a convertible.
And I was trying to drink some milk
It
or
decided
whatever.
it did not want to be a part of this foot.
He
So
tried to drink. I like how he goes. I tried to drink some milk to make it grow.
I don't think that's how that works.
You are only this show away from having an alligator bite you, and drag you under.
Hey, here's the thing.
I want to take a picture with it.
That's how I'm imagining her. Like,
No,
saying
it's an
it.
old white lady, 57
was it?
years old.
I was
blame-
imagining like a sweet, like cute, like little Spanish manicure lady.
Mm-hmm.
I blame my wife because she's been yelling at me for years
Blame her for what?
about tracking dirt clods into the house. Because
No, we know that's you.
I
You've
know-
done it here.
I know.
Right.
I can confirm that. Myth
Yeah.
confirmed.
No, I know I do. So what I've been doing is I leave my sandals at the garage door, you know, and then I go inside and then I decide randomly because I have no plan. Like I'm
Right.
just like, oh, I need to trim my tower garden, and then I walk out the back, and usually I have a sandals out there, but then I
There's your
random
casual sandals.
and then
Backyard sandals.
and then I go into the yard, and then I leave my sandals, and then I'm like, and then I'm
So
barefoot.
you go into the yard without sandals.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
your feet can also drag in dirt and mud.
So you put
Nah,
dirty
yeah.
feet into dirty sandals.
Right.
Yeah, and so then I just say screw it, and then I'm walking around barefoot. Although if I'm barefoot, I could feel the dirt on
I
the bottom
thought
of my
you
feet.
can't feel the bottom of your feet.
Well, I can feel it enough where I know
Stop touching them.
I think they're permanently stained. There's a white callus at the top right beneath the toes that
That's-
goes along the entire ridge of your toes.
That's not a
I
callus.
got to cheese grade that off.
No.
I got to cheese
Have
grade
Butler
them.
do it.
I'm gagging. It's disgusting.
Have Butler do it as
I'll
his
hide
punishment.
my feet with some bags.
Punishment for what? He did nothing.
Well, I mean, we just put it in queue because he's got to do
Okay.
something.
Yeah. That's how I'm growing that giant eggplant.
We have a punishment board.
Yeah, what are we going to do with that giant eggplant?
Hey, well,
I
knew-
wanted to make him suck it like a adult Peter Pan. Well, dressed as adult Peter Pan.
I knew where the jokes were going to go when I posted it. Obviously, people are like, "Where? Don't you know what was going to happen?" Like, of course, you
Yeah.
idiots. Of course, I did.
Why else would he do it? He's not growing that eggplant to eat it. Are you crazy?
Yeah, eggplants are gross.
No self-respecting 90s radioman grows an eggplant for dinner.
yeah, you could tell
Yeah.
by the way they look.
You either grow it for a porn star or an intern.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. He didn't fit into that XX hockey jersey eating eggplants.
Let's take a little break. When we come back, you want to dig through some emails and
Yeah.
voicemails?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back with more Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Happy Friday, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good.
You have on, I like that shirt. What is that?
It's a Cabana Mickey shirt.
Cabana Mickey shirt. She also did this.
Showed
Yeah,
my big
yeah.
old Mickey ears.
Hey,
come on.
You're taking the power away. If you're gonna start sexually harassing yourself, I'm not sure I can stand for that.
We're not going to take it.
Go into your own office.
I have my own now?
Go into your own office and talk to yourself about what you've done.
Yeah, it's the bathroom.
Oh, you sweet beaned it up during lunch. I'm not
sorry.
going back in there.
That's 2 beans.
I thought you weren't going to talk about it. I saw you go in there. I was like, oh, God.
I had to hold my breath.
Oh my God! I'm glad you.
I'm like, she's going in there.
Why do you do that? Whenever, like,
It's an emergency.
is it?
I mean,
It's emerging
seems
beans.
like it.
You gotta. You know what? Next time, walk to Publix.
Yeah, but it's the everybody's very
I should have
nervous.
worn
over
my
there.
mask into the bathroom.
Yeah. Like I think it's frowned upon just to go to Publix to use the bathroom.
No, that's essential.
Yeah.
You said it was an emergency.
If you but I have a bathroom.
What ranks higher, essential or emergency?
The thing is, there's a bathroom in the office, so I feel like I would be, society would
Yeah,
frown
but that's
upon
like
me.
an RV bathroom. Number one's only.
That's true.
Number one's only,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Or a like I'm virtually certain, and I don't even want to say this. I'm going to stare right at you when I say it.
Yeah.
I'm virtually certain that Samantha is number 2'd here before, but you'd never know it
No,
because she's
no.
not a filthy animal.
Yeah. Or a diet's better.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. The alcohol mixes with
hate.
God knows what.
Sprinkling of-
What are you eating? Those jalapenos got you.
Yeah, something else, and then it's some chemistry's happening. It's not normal.
Yeah. Well,
it's
all
not
of your,
normal.
All of your tests are wrong.
We need
Yeah,
two
I feel
fans
like.
in there.
We need 5 fans.
Yeah, that one fan doesn't do anything.
No.
Because I'm like,
I think our old fan was better.
Well,
This
it
one-
did pump it into the
Yeah.
office, which is worse.
Yeah, that is worse. We do have a guest on the
Yes.
line, and hopefully he's still on the line after hearing
Oh, man.
after hearing that intro.
he's like, I thought this was a professional show.
But I'll let you go ahead.
I'm like, why is the library sponsoring the show?
Now, I know why
Talk to
they
my
are,
boss.
because I love the library. My
know.
wife is probably the greatest library patron you could ever have.
Yeah.
And we have a guest on the line, and I'm going to defer to you because you are from Miami, so you will be able to correctly say this particular gentleman's entire name. I can't roll my R's, so I don't do it justice. Sam can do it. So either you or Sam, please.
Yeah. On the line with us right now is the instructional technology specialist at Orange County Library Systems, Tony Orengo.
Yeah.
Good job.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That wasn't bad at all, man. Hey, Tony, thanks so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to chat with us. And one of the coolest things that, before this all got weird, and I don't mean that intro that you heard, I mean globally, it got a little weird. My wife was the biggest and most excited library patron you could ever have. I mean, all the online books, stuff getting sent email. We took Maisie, my daughter, down to the library in downtown Orlando, and she did like a trick-or-treat deal. She went to the History Center. All of that is an amazing resource that you and I, Tom, we've been trying to beat the drum and say, guys, we have some amazing things that you are not taking advantage of right now, and it's free, and it's at the library, and all you got to do is get your library card.
I know. And I mean, there are schools that will charge you an insane amount of tuition to teach the same things that the library can teach you for free if you have your library card or very inexpensively, and people don't know about it. And you can take all these online courses, and and how does it work, Tony? Like, let's talk about that because there's a lot of classes you could take at the library. Let's go over some of them.
And first things first, before Tony starts, I just because Samantha threw the link in our Twitch chat room, I'm just going to vocalize it so everybody knows. You want to go to ocls.info.
Yeah.
And you can get all the info. So basically write that down, and there you go. Info for info. But Tony, how would somebody go about trying to get involved and maybe taking some of the education that you guys offer?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. You pronounced my name perfectly. That was great.
Good job.
Orengo. Sometimes people will want to say oregano or Oregon, but Orengo is good.
I went with oregano.
Yeah.
I'm the gringo that went with oregano.
Yeah, I'm from Miami, so I can pronounce your last name, but specialist was a difficult one for me. It's actually more impressive.
He can't even say impressive.
It's more impressive that I got internet. Oh, okay.
Are you drunk?
No. I wish.
He sounded so disappointed.
Yes. So Tony,
Why did I even go?
how do we make this easy for people? Because we have a lot of time. We're spending a lot of time indoors. We should be. We're social distancing. How would somebody get involved?
Yeah, so what's crazy? We had been offering online classes for a while, way before this, and our attendance was really good, but it served as a supplement to our in-person classes, which I think you referenced earlier in your intro.
Yeah.
And we've got classes on a wide range of things, on how to use a mouse and keyboard. Believe it or not, people still need those.
Sure.
To more advanced subjects like motion capture and web programming and all of that. But our online classes would see good attendance, but not nearly as good as the in-person classes. That was, of course, until everyone had to stay at home and had a little extra time and was looking how to use that time. And so our online classes have seen a huge increase in attendance and interest, and of course that makes us really, really happy. We've got a number of classes, and as you mentioned, they're accessible via our website, ocls.info. And if you go there, right on the homepage, actually, on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of everything that's happening today. If you wanted to dive in and see a little bit more, you can click on the Classes and Events tab that appears across the top of the webpage.
Okay.
And that'll give you a full list of everything that we have available. You'll see there the date and the time. You can click right on that, and it'll give you a description of the class. And then you can register with your email address or your library card number.
Awesome. Now, let me give you a real-world, applicable piece of information that I pass on to a listener. I haven't heard back from said listener, but I gave him the information that he wanted. Yeah. I had a guy write me and say, hey, Dan, I like the camera setup that you guys use for Twitch and for your YouTube videos. I would like to learn how to do that. Well, I use a piece of software called OBS. It's like Open Broadcaster Software. Guess who does a class on OBS? And it's 100% for free, and they know 1,000 times more than I do.
Yeah.
The library. So I sent him to the library because I saw the sign when we were touring it, and they had a class on OBS. Look, if you want to broadcast, if you want to stream like we stream right now, OBS is all you need. It's a free program, by the way. It's totally free. So you're getting free software and you're getting free education from the library. That's all you need. You don't need to email me.
Excel classes, PowerPoint, QuickBooks, Photoshop. Yeah. By the way, Tony, I got to talk to you about some Photoshop classes because our sales guy, he's really trying to...
he's been doing all these clip arts and these little...
Well, he's trying to outshine me, his boss, by doing a fancy Photoshop in our sales presentations, and they've made, some clients have made some comments
about how good his Photoshop skills are.
And then,
so are you going to take the library classes, and then you and Travis are going to Photoshop battle?
Either that, or I email Tony and be like, can you Photoshop some liquid glass guard on some windshield wipers?
Make me look like Travis. So in all of these classes, you just basically you sign up and they're all online, and you can just kind of take them at your leisure, and you'll get a schedule, and that's the way it works.
Yeah, so these classes are presented live, so you sign up, and you'll get the information on how to access the online classroom. So on the date and time of your class, you'll follow through that link. You'll be greeted by a live instructor, and just like one of our in-person classes, if you've attended any of those, the instructor will introduce concepts to you via a presentation. They'll switch over to their screen and show you exactly what they're talking about. And many times we've created these interactive modules that we sprinkle throughout the experience, so it's not just lecture, where you can practice along with the instructor on what it is that he's or she is teaching you to do.
That's awesome. And again, if you want to end up, taking a peek, ocls.info, because you're going to want to check that schedule and see what's offering. And how often do these classes rotate through, like, the curriculum or what you're offering?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a pretty robust schedule. We're really focused on our live online classes at this point. So you'll be able to find our classes regularly scheduled throughout the month. So if you happen to miss a class that you were interested in, you can rest assured that within a week or two you'll see that class again, and you'll be able to sign up for that.
Yeah, that's fast.
Now, Tony, let me ask you a question. What about people's experience levels? Because I know
you're a lot like, I'm looking on my paper here, you're a little bit like one of the mouse and keyboard guys that you mentioned earlier. Well, I see how to use mouse and keyboard. We can get you on that one.
To give you an example, when I saw that Travis was doing the Photoshop and getting all this praise from our clients.
You pulled his pants down.
No, I was like, I can learn Photoshop too. So then I went to my computer, I opened it up, Yahoo Sports
No,
pops
first
up.
you yelled Photoshop at it. Computer, Photoshop.
Oh, Yahoo.
Then he opened up his camera phone.
Yeah, Yahoo Sports comes up, then I search Ask Jeeves, and then from Ask Jeeves I go to Google, and then from Google I search Photoshop, and then a bunch of things came up,
and then somehow you ended up on the dark web, and you bought a Piranha.
So let's just say that I'm not very tech savvy.
No.
Even though I have a degree, which is amazing to some people, including myself.
So if you're,
a college degree. I forgot to mention that.
Let's say you're challenged in the computer area like Tom is. I mean, you guys have something that could, make his
Computers
knowledge.
for dummies.
Yeah.
You got some gateways? What do you got over there?
Yeah, so, Photoshop is a great example. So we currently have 7 different Photoshop classes that are presented online. And so we start you off from the very, very basics, literally how to open Photoshop, where to find the icon. If your computer doesn't let you, scream at it and command it to open Photoshop, we can teach you how to get it open.
Tom actually thought it was a place you go to buy photos.
Photoshop.
Yeah, he's like, well, I can't do that. Everything's closed down. We're on lockdown. I don't even have a mask to walk into the Photoshop.
That's great. So you could start in one of those, first levels and work your way through that series. And then when you're ready, you can take classes on special effects and blending modes and color correction and all of that. So you can definitely start with the basics and move along.
Yeah, when we were there, we actually witnessed one of your photography classes going on. And I believe it was for people that wanted to do close-up photography for
eBay,
items.
auction items.
Yeah, for auction items that they were selling, because there is some, let's take one of our clients like Bart Merrick. He has been able to elevate his level of being a realtor by taking good photography of the houses he's trying to sell.
Yeah, he's a photographer.
So it does matter. It's a blending of skills. It's like almost interdisciplinary at that point. So we saw these guys learning, and they were on like series 3. So they were already like 3 levels higher than like the intro class on this like eBay photography, and I just thought that was super cool. And hopefully, when things get a little more normal, they'll open back up the entire area where you can go and take the classes there at the library.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We've got that you're referencing the Melrose Center at our downtown location, and we've got an awesome set of studios there: photography, video, audio, and in our photo studio, in addition to your backdrops and your lights, we've got a little setup area for photo product photography. And so we've got like a light box and a light table and awesome cameras. We can take really, really excellent pictures. So we're looking forward to when we're able to get back in the building and offer those awesome services to the community, for sure.
Tony, could you help me out with? I've got some computer problems that
he's not the Geek Squad.
Oh my God!
Well, he's a technology specialist. Actually, my mom used to be the technology specialist for Volusia County. Isn't that a weird? She was also a librarian. She would slap your face for insulting him.
Every time I have to print something, I have to drag it to my desktop so I can find it, because I can't find it anywhere else. So I've done that so much that my entire desktop from corner to corner is filled, and now it just drags.
You know what's? Hold on.
Huh?
I gotta stop you.
Yeah.
The most embarrassing part of this is 100% accurate. That is not an exaggeration at all.
I'm not done yet.
There are at least 200 files on the desktop.
And then now it just defaults to the top right-hand corner, but there's so many things piled on top of each other that if you were able to stack them, if they were actually Legos, I think they go from here to the moon. Like it's an infinite, it's an infinite amount of on top of each other files that it has. And then
Juan is confirming it. He's seen it. Juan, our Twitch manager, has been into our offices to see how terrible your desktop is.
And then one time I went to some questionable sites, and then a million pop-ups started coming up, and I'm trying to X them out. Top right, I'm like X. but the power of the pop-up is too much. It's like two wizards
Or is
shooting.
it the power of the pop-pop?
Power of the pop-up.
It's like two wizards shooting their power at each other and just going back and forth, and I'm trying to X out the windows faster than they're coming up, and then I just have to close my laptop.
Tony, I'm very sorry.
So, is there a way to fix any of that, or do I have to just throw the laptop away?
I don't know if there's a class for just being dumb.
Then I tried to drag my computer into the recycling bin to see if I could fix it, and it won't do it.
And then your computer disappears like that meme. Or disappears. Oh, I'm just as dumb.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Tony. Anyway, but you can help out anybody with any skill, correct?
Right. So we've got lots of classes. What I would recommend in your situation with the desktop full of icons is maybe do a shortcut on your keyboard when you're on your desktop. Control-A to select everything, and then select the delete key, and voila, it all disappears. And then you got to clear your desktop once again.
Oh no! I think what you've done is very dangerous.
That's all our tax information.
Oh my God.
Full transparency, Tony. We have never told him there's a delete key. We've never told him there's a delete key.
There's a lot of important things. I don't know what. There's some T-shirt logos.
I think my paycheck's on there somewhere. It needs to be printed out.
Also, Tony, I'm seeing in here that you also do like knitting, crochet meetups, sewing meetups, which we've had this ongoing joke on the show that me, Daniel, and a bunch of our listeners have bought our wives sewing machines that they've never used one time, and this could be
I have a theory that almost every woman who has a child has a sewing machine in the box in her garage, untouched.
Yeah,
every single one.
Your wife has been using it actually to make masks.
Yeah, she's been making but she's a little weird.
But so that's something. Is there also online courses for those as well?
Yeah, so we have a really awesome community around our fiber arts program at the library, and we wanted to continue to foster that even in the season. And so we recently started sewing and knitting and crocheting meetups online.
Dope.
And so we've got meetups where we're seeing a lot of familiar faces from folks that would come in.
That's
it's
great.
really neat because we get to see them, but they also get to see others who they would spend time with and talk to at our buildings. So we're able to facilitate those experiences even through a virtual environment. But it's really neat. I don't sew, but I attended just to see what it was like, and it was neat to see folks with their sewing machines out, talking to each other, asking whether or not they were holding the fabric correctly or the pattern correctly.
Sure.
It was a neat experience. One of the classes that I was able to see was a pet bandanas class. So everybody in the class was making a bandana for their pets with leftover fabric in their house. Yeah.
Tony, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I've always wondered.
What the hell's going on with this virus, Tony?
I miss the old backhoe or front end loader. This website's under construction, and then the.
You want to learn some HTML? They do HTML classes. You could learn how to do that.
You've got the front end loader pretending to dig something.
Please excuse our dust.
And I'm like, whatever happened to the construction equipment? Because that told me they're still building it.
It just said under construction.
Yeah. Now it just goes to an error
like
404.
A 404. Yeah.
I'm like, error 404. I want the damn bulldozer. I'm sorry, Tony. Don't even try to answer that.
Butler, our sales guy, set this up. Butler is our counterpart. He's the sales guy, and he's the one that talks to the Orange County Library System about us.
Yeah.
And he's the one that he's like, yeah. They'll be great when they do that. They'll be funny and they'll be great. I saw Butler packing his desk.
Tony, I will ask you because we do tell people all the time that you guys offer so many free services and that people don't know about, and
services, resources. I mean, it's almost too much.
Do you see like schools and super expensive programs that they some of these schools offer and stuff and maybe it's a little bit different or whatever, but people pay for the stuff that you guys teach for free, correct?
Yeah, many of the things we offer, folks pay to enroll in a school to experience, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and people are like, well, I can't afford to learn Photoshop, or I can't afford to learn podcasting or photography.
Yeah.
Like
Or maybe you don't want to fully enroll into a massive, organized program and then invest your own money into something you don't even know if you like it yet.
Yeah, you're right.
It would be smarter of you to go, like Tony's saying, go to one of these HTML classes. They've got levels 1 through 4. You sign up for level 1. It's totally free. You kind of go through it and see if you like it. If you get the bug, then you go through all 4.
Yeah, right. And then
and you're not out anything.
And then you maybe go into a career path that you need more education. But you're right, 100%. Like all these classes you can start learning for free.
I would.
And see if you like it.
We
or not.
all know that guy that buys the $3,000 camera without even knowing if they really enjoy photography as a hobby or as a job.
Yeah.
It'd be smarter for you to just to go here and actually talk to these people that do it all the time. And again, this is a resource that's in our town that's completely free.
Yep, it's ocls.info /classes, and you can find out all the information there. Tony, thanks so much for goofing around.
Yeah,
with
being
us.
a good sport, being fun. And
sorry, we're so dumb.
We hope you're staying. We hope you're staying safe, and please let everybody know there because we're massive fans. Tell everybody at Melrose and OCLS, give them some love from us, and tell them stay safe.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon.
See you, Tony.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that couldn't have gone any worse. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Man.
Nah, they know. There's
Do
I
they?
don't think they do know.
Yeah,
They know
Butler-
now.
Yeah, Butler left. He's crying in the yard.
I just scream. They know when anything I mess up. I just like it's your fault.
It's the epitome of falling down. I mean, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do a roll and then you're like
Always on my toes.
Yeah.
I think I really am gonna sign up for. He said something interesting that I've never heard before. Fiber arts program for dudes. That's a way. If you want to break the stereotype, you don't have to say sewing. Fiber arts.
Oh yeah.
Textiles, right? Sounds better.
Yeah. What's the difference?
I'm going to learn how to sew this year, though, because I'm so sick of not knowing how to mend or hem my pants.
You can start making your own T&D merch.
It took me 4.5 years, one shirt.
I made one T-shirt. Who wants it? $3,000.
What's the difference between knitting and crocheting?
Well, crocheting has a penis and knitting has a vagina.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I thought. All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time.